Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sweet 16, baby. That's
Sweet
right.
16, man.
Woo-wee. We are rolling, juking and jiving, and we're going to make this thing a real thing before long.
Hey, we old enough to drive.
Oh, not very well, but we're old enough to drive.
Technically, we can legally drive.
We need a highway line with mattresses and tires, but we're driving down that bad boy.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Off the Rails podcast. If you don't know by now, I am Travis.
And I'm Mitch.
And we... Did you die? What happened?
No, I tried. Last time I waited too long, so this time I tried to
get
in right behind you.
You were
but
right
then
there.
I still wasn't ready, so.
No, you were there. You were there. Well, welcome in, everybody, man. I am more than excited for this episode, and for no particular reason. So don't think that there's some kind of like bombshell that's going to be dropped here in a little bit. There's no big exciting news or anything like that. We don't have like this amazing story to tell or anything. I just for about 3 days have needed this conversation, and I am super stoked to be sitting here and doing this. We're a day early, so for all the mothers out there, especially our mothers, a happy Mother's Day to you. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, so we took the day. We did it a little day early so we could spend the day with our wives. I'm actually going to the shop for a little while, and then we'll spend some time with the wife. Yeah.
Blasphemy.
I know. Is it okay that I'm taking everybody with me to the shop and making them all
you're
work?
Good then. Yeah, you're good then.
It's family time. Yeah.
Family time, man.
Yeah.
Listen, we have to spend time with our family. Nowhere does it say vacation, water parks, going out to eat. We're with each other, man. That's all. I mean, y'all want anything else? You're on your own.
We're there. Oh, I got to take this off. It's making my head itch. All right. Sorry. All right. So I am so this has been a debate. I'm keeping my word that I am wearing a different hat, but I really am struggling with. I feel like that I should be wearing the Off the Rails podcast hat while I'm doing the Off the Rails podcast. But nonetheless,
why don't you do a close up for the YouTube viewers?
Oh, YouTube viewers.
We can't forget about. Oh yeah, look at that, man.
Look at there.
That is banging, dude.
And it's really hard to see because the thread is really close matched. I can't get away from the ring light far enough.
The Stile Boyz.
But yeah, these come out super sick. I need to give credit to the website that did these for us. I can't remember what it is. We'll do that though.
No credit today, website.
No, sorry guys. And I need to give them a shout out because they did a really good job. It took like 3 different, versions of them kicking the logo back to me, and I was like, nope, that's not what I want. Nope, that's not what I want. And they were super helpful, super good to work with every time. They just kept making the change, until we got exactly what we asked for. I mean, and they hit it spot on. I mean, couldn't have asked for a
good looking hat.
Better hat. So
maybe one day we'll do
stoked.
a giveaway or something. But
well, I feel like now we can. Now that you guys have yours, I didn't want to give anybody else one until your delivery made it to your house. Which I was waiting on one particular item. That's what took so long to get them to you. And then you think you can have something and you
snatched it right out, man. I mean, she was, oh, how nice of Travis to send me a shirt with that look in her eye. And one of them was like twitching like this.
And I was thinking Tammy the entire time when I packed that in there. I just thought maybe she'd let you have it. I don't know.
Nope.
But hey,
you got yours on.
The world's biggest iron-on. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
I will never wear this shirt outside because I'm sure I will die. But yeah, that sound. That's the iron-on.
Yeah, for you guys listening, that is him rubbing the logo. He's got the Off the Rails, the podcast logo, with us on the choo-choo train on his shirt, and he's rubbing it, and it sounds like you're like rubbing a garbage bag or something.
It's so funny. Shout out, this is from Ninja Transfers, is who did these.
Okay.
Ninja Transfers. And then they send you just basically an iron-on. And then I took it to my person. I have a local person here, and I brought some shirts up to show you. Her name is Casey. She's a friend of ours, but she does like little shirts for me, like to work in. So like this is the last one that she did for me. So like she did the Walker and Wood. Can you hear me through the shirt?
Yeah.
The Walker and Wood logo, and then on the back. So this is one I did for the. I like to put things that make me laugh on the back.
Yeah, you're the builder.
So this is from the the Godfather logo.
Okay.
And it says the builder.
Well, I didn't catch the Godfather. I've never seen the Godfather though, so
Yeah.
that one was on me. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. That's all right. And then I had her do this one. So I did the Walker and Wood logo on that one again.
Yeah.
And this one says,
Love the smell of sawdust in them. I do too, man. I do too. Yeah.
So I just do these cheap shirts. Well, the shirts themselves are not cheap because I really like this brand. I like the way they wear. But she does the shirts for me for super cheap. I mean, she doesn't charge me much for them.
Yeah.
Because I destroy them with wood glue in like a matter of a day.
Yeah.
And does that bother you, glue being on your shirt?
I will pick at it insistently for hours.
Yes, it's like a tick, right?
Yep.
I mean, you once you find that one.
Because I tell you what, it feels like it'll come off.
Yeah, you feel like if you pick it hard enough, you can get it to come off that
Yeah.
shirt. And guess
Yeah.
what, buddy?
It ain't coming off.
She ain't coming off. She's there,
It's like this. It's the old school fidget spinner.
right? Well, yeah. Whew. I don't know if it's the temperature up here or if it's this patch on this shirt, but it's starting to get hot. I'm just telling you. I don't know.
I guarantee you ain't no air getting through that patch, buddy.
No, there ain't nothing coming through this patch. I mean, it sounds like I got a piece of paper underneath my shirt.
I will say your hat you got on now, though, it looks like it cost a lot of money.
The old Costa. My favorite sunglasses. I don't think there's anything better than Costas with glass lenses. I don't like plastic lenses in Costas. I think they're garbage, but I like the glass lenses.
No, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I believe you when you say that. You said it with absolute authority.
Yeah, they fog up way worse than glass does. The plastic
Yeah.
does. But being blonde haired and blue eyed, when I go blow dyed, when I go
Blow-dyed,
outside
good.
in the sun without sunglasses on, you can count about 5 before I just start sneezing my head off almost instantly. I'm very photosensitive. So I mean I buy good glasses. And I also find that the more money I spend on glasses, for me, the longer they last. The more concerned I am about them.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You
I
know.
picked up a pair of Oakleys last year down at the beach. We found a pair when I took Riley deep sea fishing. And
Gotcha.
they were Walgreens, but man, they were comfortable. They were polarized. They were awesome. And wound up losing them during the whole, house cleaning out, whatever. Couldn't find them. And Tammy's like, just get you a pair of good glasses. You've never had, a good pair. And my problem is a lot of the cheap ones, they give me a headache after about 5 minutes.
Well, you got a wide head.
Well, the lens, it's like the lens isn't.
Oh, really?
It's trying to correct something. You know what I'm saying? And it might just be my eyes, but anyway.
Almost like the curvature of them is like it's a prescription lens almost, and you don't need it.
When I put it on, I can see it. It almost like it tilts my vision that way.
Interesting.
So, but anyway, I went in and found a pair of Oakleys I really liked, and I like them. They're lightweight. They're small. They're not,
I got an older pair of Oakleys that I like that I wear when I'm afraid that I'm going to lose my glasses. You know what I'm saying? Like water, like in the beach, things like that. Well, welcome in to producer Tommy's here tonight. He's making a silent appearance in the background. He's doing good. He's got one at this point in time. He's released one full episode, 90% on his own. Had a little bit of technical issues and just moving through the technology and moving across the cloud. He did really good. And then he's working on what is that, episode 12 right now that he's working on, I think it is, to get it done, and he's on his own on it and doing a really good job. So keep driving there, producer Tommy. Maybe we'll let you show up on camera one day when you get prettier.
Yeah, you better watch out.
Oh, he says 12 is done. Oh, look at that. Done early. Yeah, I like that, my man. Yeah. He learned that it takes a long time for a video to upload to YouTube.
Yeah. Long time.
very long process. I told him, I said, I honestly don't know how long it takes because I set it to upload and then I go to bed. And when I wake up in the morning, it's done. So I
Yeah.
really don't know. But I think it took like 8-10 hours.
I don't know. You got to ask him.
Something like that. But
I know he got frustrated after about 2 hours. He's like, man, I can't believe it's not. I said, dude, that's a lot of data you're trying to transfer.
it's a big file. It's a big file. Lots of words.
And believe me, I am no IT guy, but I do know that.
Right. From 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So 15 hours. I don't know. I guess something like that.
But it has been a week since we have spoken last, almost. It's been 6 days.
Yeah.
We've had a full work week.
Whew. Did we?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't get much done. I ain't gonna lie.
We got a little bit done. We got a job. It was weird. I'll get into it. You want to start off with yours, or?
Now, I can recap pretty quick. I didn't make any money this week, and I spent a boatload of money.
Oh.
Yeah. That's.
But is that a man? You got to look. But is that a bad week though? Is that a bad week?
Well,
I mean, you still spent money.
Yes and no. But so the grizzly saw came.
Yes.
As it was supposed to on Tuesday. Yep. Grizzly, I'm fixing to beat you up for a minute. But I'm going to do it like a compliment sandwich, though.
Don't do my dog Grizzly like that, man.
Because it was good on the front. It's a little rough in the middle. And I feel like on the back end, we're getting okay.
It's like a pimento cheese sandwich then.
Okay. No, I love pimento cheese.
Oh, do you? I do
yes. Too. So the order process, super smooth, good customer service, and everything went through like it should. Got a phone call on like Thursday. I think we talked about that on the last podcast. And with the freight company, and they're like, "Hey, it's going to arrive on Tuesday," and then they give you a 5-hour window, just like the cable guy does. I'm like, "Well, I can't sit at the house for 5 hours. What are my options?" And they said, "Well, you can opt to leave it with no signature." I said, "Well, we're just going to have to do that." My daughter is kind of in and out, between work and all. I was like, she can keep an eye out for it. She'll probably be home. I didn't know that when you say leave with no signature, that also means leave without ringing the doorbell, leave without any attempt to contact, and literally means sitting on the sidewalk.
Yeah, curbside delivery, buddy. That puts them right back to basics.
Yep.
All they have to do is get it off the truck. That's it.
There was a pallet and 3 other boxes sitting on the sidewalk, and I had no idea that it came at all. So find out that it's here. Go get the trailer. I was coming back from a customer's house. Go get the trailer. Come back. We get everything loaded onto the trailer and go out to the shop. And as I'm unloading it off at the shop, realize that everything's labeled box 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 4 of 5,
Oh,
5 of 5. If you were paying attention, you caught that there was no 3 of 5. Yeah. So look at the packing list. There was some paper stuffed underneath the straps. 1 box short, handwritten on there. And that's not good. So call Grizzly. They do their process, and then they're like, well, we'll send you a follow-up email with some further instructions to let you know. So this is where it gets a little frustrating with Grizzly. Grizzly's response is we've got to give the trucking company, the freight company, 4 full business days to investigate. All right, first of all, they're going to look about the first hour and a half after being notified that the box is missing, and then they're not looking no more. I mean, They're just not. So I don't understand this 4 full days, and then these 4 full business days also span over a weekend. Well, I don't take the weekends off all the time. A lot of times we work them. So now we're talking about like 6, 7 production days. Down.
yeah.
Table saw is gone. Don't have a table saw, right? So I call them on Friday. And I reply back to the email that I get with these instructions. And I'm like, hey, look, this is not a hobby shop. This is a business shop. Is there something we could do? Like, is there something we can get this going faster? Can't wait that long. Reply back to sender. Email box is full. Cannot be sent. What, Grizzly? You're not empty. Either you don't have enough data on the backside to house more emails, or you're not clearing them out or something. So can't get through. Well, my shop is a Faraday cage. It's incredibly hard to make a phone call from my shop. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I actually this week had such bad service for whatever reason, and the Wi-Fi was also so terrible that there was about 3 days that it was just me and my thoughts and the hum of some machinery. And boy, it got dark in there for a couple of times. I mean, I got lost, and
You're like, why am I thinking that? Wait a minute.
there is some creepy stuff up here. Let me. If I know you in this last week, I've probably thought about what I would say at your funeral. How weird is that? Is that a weird thing?
Yeah, that is weird.
But I did.
So we just need to make a note to make sure you got access to the outside world.
Yes. I would not do good on a deserted island, or well, I mean, maybe a deserted island, but locked in a room, jail.
Yeah.
No, that would not be good for T. Not at all. But anyway, so then I called them. I think it was Friday. I called them, and I'm like, "Hey, is there something we can do?" Really good customer service, like really helpful, lots of conversation. Kind of, I'm sorry. I'm like, look, I know it's not your fault, like, but it's the company you contracted, so you're the only person I had to complain to, right? Like, you know. And so anyway, long process went through, and they're supposed to ship me one on Monday, but the kicker is I don't know. It was too late on Friday to ship one. They don't ship on the weekends. But I don't know if it's coming by freight or UPS. It depended on the weight of the table. So it's the extension table that's missing.
I was going to ask what was missing.
Yeah. So like kind of the main part of the show. I mean, I might as well have gotten the extension table and no saw. Like they're not. I mean, it's just as useless without each other.
Yeah. Here's everything you need, but the power cord.
Right. But got the saw together, got everything on it that I could, got it put together, ended up having to order a mobile base for it. Wasn't thinking I needed a mobile base, but I decided I'll go ahead and put one on there so I can move it around for cleaning and things like that. And now that I've got to move it around the shop because it's just in the way, that came out handy. Got the Shot Fox heavy duty stand. Those are pretty nice. I like them. Lots of screws. Lots of screws for a stand to put them together, but it's got some cool. It's got leveling feet on it. That was another reason why I decided to get it, was because my saw, from front to back, it needs to lift on my side, on the feed side. It needs to lift, so I got one with some leveling feet on it so that we could get it leveled easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty cool, and then just worked on some stupid marquee letters. Yeah.
More of them.
Yeah, more of them, but this is the last batch. And this brings me to one of my talking points, but I'm gonna put an asterisk on it. We're not gonna talk about it yet, but it's related to those. Got some lights mounted up, got all the dust collection hooked up and rerun for everything, and have the shapers up online and dialed in.
Ooh, really? Hello.
Yes. So, boy, that's you wanna check your sphincter muscles. That first time you turn that shaper table on, boy, whoo,
I told you.
Everything will tighten up.
That's
Man.
the only tool in my shop that gives me the heebies. The only one.
It's just a big old chunk of metal spinning around, boy. I'm telling you.
Hey, how about this, buddy? It's spinning.
And it's humming. It is.
I mean, it's like, and it is there, man. All of it.
Well, so that takes me to my last part, which is the end of the Grizzly story. Which so we kind of got a little bit better, right? I mean, they're kind of making it. I don't know when I'm going to get the extension table still, but it's at least shipping on Monday, which is better than it shipping on Wednesday. That's when it would have shipped. So got to call technical services. It's 2 different phone numbers if you don't know. But I think Mitch talked about this during one episode when he had to get some parts for his shaper. Well, I bought an adapter for the third shaper, so it will take 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch router bits.
Okay.
Well, you get the instructions, and it's like you need to thread it onto. I can't remember what the rod is called. Not the spindle.
It's like a
down shear shaft, down something like that.
It's what holds the spindle in.
Right. But it kind of gives you a picture of it. I'm like, so I can't really figure out what it's talking about off the instructions that came with the adapter. So I called technical service. He goes, well, do you have a manual? I said, I do not have a manual. It's not Christmas time. No, I don't have a manual. So he's like, well, I'll send you one. I said, well, I don't know if I'll get it or not because my internet's terrible. Like, I don't know how I'm having this conversation with you right now, actually.
Yeah.
So it comes through, and I was like, well, I can't look at it and talk to you. I'm going to lose one. Like, if I start eating up bandwidth trying to look at this manual. But I was like, so is it inside of the shaft? Like, I was like, is the threaded part, is that a sleeve that's over this? I couldn't figure out where in the world to undo this thing because I kept looking underneath, and it's got a key, So if you know what I'm talking about, like if you've got two. A lot of times when two items, if they're going to spin together, like you'll see them, you'll line them up and there'll be a slot and you drop another piece of metal in it to kind of lock them together so they spin together. It's called a key. So I saw that and I was like, well, that's obviously not going to unthread because they're keyed, And that's the whole purpose of the key. So I was so frustrated, and the guy couldn't. I was either too stupid to understand what he was saying or he wasn't doing a good job of explaining. One of the two. I'm not sure.
So you're talking about taking the spindle out, reaching under the drive pulley and loosening up the long bolt.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I didn't know where the other bolt was. So I went outside. So what you're saying is
you should have called me.
You should have just called me. But I went outside and I got some Wi-Fi. I got close enough to the Wi-Fi that I got on YouTube. And Grizzly has a very good video explaining what to do. And as soon as they showed the video and went down, I was like, oh, I wasn't looking far enough down. Like, I didn't realize that nut was actually like all the way through the bottom of the motor.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, we're done. I mean, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So, I mean, went back in there, took that nut off, swapped it out. So now I've got the two shapers, one with Stile, one with rail, and then the third shaper is set up for router bits.
Okay.
And I taped off the reverse switch on that router because you should only feed router bits counterclockwise.
Yeah.
So you don't want to make a boo-boo and make that sucker go backwards. You can spin a shaper bit backwards, so you can kind of make a back cut with it, so you don't get blowout. But
with a power feeder.
Yeah, it's true. That's next. Power feeder is next. I think I'm going to just get a baby feeder. I don't think I need, because I'm just going to run style material through it. So
you're talking about just a groove.
Yep.
Maybe inside
maybe
profile.
A little profile. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think.
I mean, if I was doing like edge brace panels or something like that, then I would do a bigger. But we'll see. We'll see when they go on sale next time, and we'll go from there.
So a very good resource for you is, I can't remember what group it's in, but I think Ben, and I know this is Facebook talk, but anyway, Ben J on there. I think he just set his up for doing stuff like that, and if you setting your shapers up as far as the fence location away from the blade. Mm-hmm. If you run into anything, jump on there, dude, because they run these all the time. They know. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, I made this little jig. Now I don't have to worry about it. It just bam, bam, bam. I don't have to worry about the fence.
Yeah.
So there's really good resources on there. Yeah, I love that. I love that group.
I did redo the fences. I used some of that plastic material. Oh, I did get all the outfeed tables and my work table have that plastic on them that I talked about that I went to Timbuktu to get. So that's that super high glosses on everything. So I used that super high gloss to make some new fences on the shaper tables with too.
Yeah,
because they were kind of chunky and they had tear out from whatever profile was being used on them before I bought them. So got those done, but and I think I've got to do a baby feeder too because I'm out of power. Whatever I get's got to be 110. I'm out of. I can't run any more 240 in the shop. I'm maxed out. So
we'll talk about that off air.
Okay.
Mike can help you.
I can't put any more in the breaker at least. Like I could maybe split off from something that I wouldn't be using at the same time, but. Yeah. I'm full on the breaker.
Yep.
And that's pretty much, I mean, really, design number 222 on a laundry room, and, so I'll start cutting on that Monday. And, got a little bit of a short week coming up this week. Got to make a run to Florida on Friday night. Yep, got to go to a graduation.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to run down. Yeah, 30A. So, a buddy of mine that used to live up here that sold, and he moved down there. His the middle child is graduating this year, so we're going to make a run down there real quick. It'll be a down and back. No like real beach time involved, but
that's my kind of beach trip, man.
I'm super disappointed.
Look, there it is, water. Okay, let's go home.
I'm super disappointed. I'd like to at least sit on the beach for one day and drink, I don't know, at least a suitcase of beer.
How is the missus on the beach?
Oh, we're lockstep on the beach. Like
really?
That's yeah.
It's been a struggle in my marriage.
Really? Like,
yeah, it's been a struggle.
If I can have an umbrella and she does not have to get underneath the umbrella, she's happy. I'm happy. And as long as we can keep the cooler between the two of us, we're good. We'll sit there all day.
We decided early in our marriage that, hey, this is what it is. Okay? It's what it is.
Yeah.
So if we're down there, let's say we're down there for a week, she gets one evening, well after dark, we will go for a walk.
Okay.
I am fully dressed. I could leave the beach, right, the sand, walk into the door of my cabinet shop and go to work. That's how dressed I am. I mean, gotcha. Shoes, hey.
Long breeches.
Yes. Oh, yeah. She will get one of those per trip. And that's what we compromised on. Do not ask me to go down there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and sit in the sand. I don't
want to go at 1 o'clock in the afternoon either. I want to get there about 9 or 10.
Oh no, way too hot.
Now I'll sit through, but I don't want to. I can't start midday.
No.
Oh yeah, we'll sit there and wait. We'll wait on sunset.
Yeah, that hurts, man.
Oh, love it.
But look, that's fine.
I joked with the kids yesterday. I said, "Hey, you know what my new retirement plan is? It's like we're just gonna sell anything. Your mom and I are moving to Belize. We're just gonna live on the beach in Belize because the dollar. Well, for right now, the dollar is like 2 to 1, and over there.
Yeah. For now,
we went one time. We've done one trip over there. We loved it. I mean, they'll steal your stuff in a heartbeat. You got to keep everything under lock and key, and you got no gun to defend yourself with. But hey, it's pretty.
Chris went to Costa Rica, and he's like, "That dude, hey, that's A1, buddy."
Yeah.
But now he's on the back roads, and apparently he rented a golf cart driver all day.
A golf cart drive. We rented golf carts, but we drove ourselves.
Yeah, this dude, like you paid him $5 or something, and he's with you all day, and he takes you wherever you want to go. And
yeah.
Anyway, that's you know how he is,
right?
But that was fun.
I can imagine what he wears at the beach.
I tell you what, he can't. Chris, I'm fixing to tell on you, buddy, and you can get mad if you want to. Get mad if you want to.
I got in trouble for some of those Nashville stories I told the other week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, my dad's like, "Hey, you forgot to tell the one about your sister." And I was like, "Well, I can."
He came over here to finish up the pad.
Okay.
And he was here. We were at church, and it was homecoming, so we stayed and we ate, and all that stuff, and got back. And he was already on the dozer.
Church homecoming, not football season homecoming.
Yeah, church homecoming. And he climbed out of the dozer. This is my brother we're talking. In a pair of khaki shorts, a t-shirt, and off-brand Hey Dudes.
Really?
Not joking about that.
Did he get robbed on the way to your house and they took his clothes?
I'm not going to lie. I cussed him when he got out of the bulldozer. There, I said it. I said it. I said, "What in the are you wearing? What do you have on your feet?" He's like, "Man, in my shoes, man." I was like, "No, you're driving a dozer nonetheless. You're not playing golf or whatever. You're driving a dozer in off-brand."
I was expecting you to at least say cowboy boots with his shorts.
No. Hey Dudes. Whatever, man. Whatever. Pad looks good.
Which I have some Hey Dudes, and I can wear them like around the house like I would house shoes, but I can't wear them. They destroy my back.
Yeah. Well, see, I've got Crocs that I wear because you know how when you have a work truck and you work out of your work truck, there's always something you forget.
Yeah.
And you sit down, put your feet up, you take your boots off, and I wear lace-up boots.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm tired of lacing it, and I will trip on a shoestring like that, buddy. If I put it on without tying it, I'm going down like Titanic, man.
So
So I got
do yours lace up? Do they have the little hooks that you wrap and tie?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
see, I don't untie mine. I just leave them tied and I hook them and unhook them.
Well, these are pretty tight though. I don't know. I may try that.
Yeah, I don't
These are
tie
tight.
mine.
These are Hokas, by the way.
The boots?
Yeah.
Really?
So they're not like leather uppers. I mean, they're waterproof, I think, but they're 4-inch high, coming up your ankle.
I've got a pair of
Hokas.
New Balance boots. Do you know New Balance made a boot?
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
But if you work on seriously, straight up, get a pair of Hoka. I think the Clifton 2s is what they are.
I'm writing this down.
Buy a pair of Hoka Clifton 2s. They're pricey, but they are an absolute game changer.
And I will piggyback on that too. So I went one time to the New Balance store to like actually get fitted for a pair of shoes. Like I was like, all right, this is what I do for a living. It was when I had the gun range, so I was on concrete all day.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I do. This is I'm flat footed like a duck. What do I need? And they put me with a pair of shoes. And it was the first time I'd really spent good money on shoes. I think they were like $250, for a pair of New Balance.
Yep.
Life changing experience. Don't be cheap with something that like affects your feet. Affect every part of your body. They really do.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it affects your back and it affects your shoulders and your neck alignment. And it'll affect your headaches and stuff like that. At the end of the day, don't go cheap on boots. I mean, my favorite thing is people, the meme where it's like these kids think they're something in their $200 shoes, and I got a $300 pair of boots, and I just trash them the first day.
Trash 'em,
like,
yep.
you're not. I mean, the first day you got them on, and you paint them. I mean, you're like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
they're work boots. What are you gonna do?
And the thing is, when I put those shoes on, whether they're Red Wings, the Irish Setters, I ran those for a little while, Hokas, whatever they are. As soon as I put those on and walk in the shop, mentally, I just block them out from being new shoes, right?
Oh, yeah.
I go right to work, I stir paint, I drip paint on them. It's like, it's not that big of a deal, because they're going to get tore. I'm not sentimental to shoes. Shoes to us that's another tool.
Are you sure they're Clifton 2s? Because there's like Clifton 8, Clifton 9.
It's probably the Clifton 8. I think the ones I got on now are something 2s, but the Clifton 8s is what I should have said.
You said they're boots?
No. The Clifton 8s are the tennis shoes.
Okay.
I don't remember what the boots are green.
Who makes them?
Hoka.
Hoka? Oh, really?
But they're not Clifton. The Clifton is the Hoka tennis shoe. The Hoka boot is, I don't know. And that's Hoka. For you people listening.
Hookah pulls up something different.
Yeah.
Is it like the Anacapa Breeze? Anacapa?
That don't sound right. I can't remember the name of them.
That right there?
Nope.
No.
But it looks, they're similar to that.
Similar?
I'll send you
Okay.
some info on them. But anyway, they are there, and it's a whole different sole design.
And that is one thing. Ask questions when you go to someplace and go to someplace who has some employee training too, because different shoes are made for different surfaces. Like
Yep.
a Hoka, like some are going to be made for running, some are going to be made for like trails.
Yep.
You don't want something that's soft, that's made for absorbing like rocks and stuff if you're going to smooth concrete surface all day, because it's just going to collapse and give underneath you. That hurts your back. Like that's not going to work.
Here's a little free tip. I learned about Hokas because we have, just like I'm sure everybody does, if you have a female relative in your family, chances are they're a nurse. Right?
Yeah.
So we have all kind of dental hygienists, nurses, surgical assistants, whatever. They work in the hospital on tile floors all day. And I started asking them, what kind of shoes do y'all wear on that tile floor? And every one of them said Hoka. Hokas.
Now I got a buddy that's a cop. He swears by. He's got a pair of On Cloud boots. He swears by them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I had never used them.
I've tried a pair of On Clouds on, and they've got a very curved bottom. I felt like I was standing like on a rocking chair. Like I didn't like the way they felt standing still. I don't
want to have to concentrate. I don't want to have to concentrate when I walk.
Well, I don't want to try to
shouldn't-
stand there talking to a cop. I'm trying to convince him I'm not drunk. It's the shoes, sir.
But speaking of that, I talked to my buddy Chad, and I said, "Listen, man, my feet are. I had, I guess it was plantar fasciitis. I don't know. It's where I could not put any weight on the ball of my foot in the morning.
have you ever thought about trying a little toe pads?
How about a little toe pads?
That's
anyway,
a local joke.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And Chad said, man, get you some Hokas, man. And I was like, there we go again with these Hokas.
Yeah.
And so I went to a local place here. And to get Hokas, you're going to need to go to it like a shoe place. Walmart is not going to have them.
No.
You know, don't go to Tractor Supply and try to
Don't
find a pair
buy
of
work
Hokas.
shoes at Walmart.
No. So anyway,
I know they're
go,
cheaper, but you're going to buy 7 pairs of them for what you would have bought 1 pair of good shoes for that will last you the life of the 7 pair.
Yep. So we went to Sykes and Con, matter of fact.
That's a good place.
There was a sheriff deputy in there.
Okay.
And I was looking at the Hokas and dude, when you go to buy a pair of Hokas and nobody has told you, you know, about all the different ones, it's like learning a new language. So the yeah. So the deputy's like, "Are you thinking about getting some of them Hokas?" I said, "Yeah, man." He goes, "Man, get them Clifton 8s or whatever." I said, "Okay," and I got them. He said, "Now, your first few steps, you need to concentrate." Because you're going to be using, you're going to be using different muscles your first few steps, and you'll trip. He said, but put them on, don't worry about it. And man, I'm telling you, the fasciitis was gone. Anyway, get good shoes.
Good shoes, yeah. I see that there's a debate on like the cabinet page and the handyman page all the time about shoes. What do you get for shoes? What do you get for shoes? I mean, and some people, like my partner, can wear a pair of cowboy, and I have a cowboy boots, and I wear them a lot, but like I cannot work in a pair of cowboy boots.
Right,
my back will just be destroyed and I'm clumsy anyway. I don't need a smooth soled shoe.
On sawdust, you talking about?
Yeah,
heck no,
yeah,
no. That is a no go right there. And you know, like your feet may be different. You know what I'm saying? But don't sit there. There are shoes for whatever kind of feet you have.
Yeah.
So do some research. You may waste $150 on a pair of shoes, and you might hate them. Use them for backup. Use them for going to the river or going on vacation or whatever, you know. But yeah.
But just because somebody says they're a great shoe doesn't mean that they're going to fit you. Like I mean, me being flat-footed like a 2x4, a lot of shoes that people say that they love, I can't wear. They have, you know. Whereas you need support. I need an artificial arch, like to fix my, like you need something there that just kind of softens and kind of catches your arch. Mm-hmm. I need something that's firm and rigid. Otherwise my ankles turn in.
Yeah.
You know, so,
yep.
I mean, it's a good recommendation, but you know, if you find somebody who's got feet, like you got extremely high arches, for example, like if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, you find somebody who's got extremely high arches and they highly recommend a shoe, odds are, you know, that you will like it, but
yep.
You know.
Speaking of shoes,
okay, we got a theme going.
Had to put some new shoes on Betty White yesterday.
Oh boy, that's fun. Ain't nothing like tires on a truck.
How about some 10 plies there, buddy?
Yeah. Well, that's an easy 1,200.
Yeah.
I mean, am I close?
You're in the ballpark. I'll give you that.
Yeah. That hurts.
So I put on a pair of Toyo Open Country MTs.
It doesn't seem like those lasted very long.
They did not.
Okay.
And I hated them. Now I'll say this: good tire, bad fit for a 3/4 ton diesel on the front truck.
Too soft?
But yes, bad fit.
Okay.
For pulling a trailer a lot on asphalt, heavy truck, you're wasting your money. Now everybody says, I could told you that. I could told you that. I could told you that. Well, guess what, buddy? 2 years ago, when none of y'all jokers that all of a sudden know so much now, none of y'all told me, because 2 years ago, Toyo MTs are bust.
Well, you were researching this. I think it was about the time that my Ford blew up. Was about the time that you got those tires. So we were kind of in the closed circle at the time. I was down there a lot, and I remember you like talking about the tires
Oh,
and looking and researching and trying to find.
and looking and reading reviews, and
Yeah.
people are like, oh, they're the best thing since sliced bread and all this stuff. No, they're not. No, they're not. They might be a good tire. They are not good for a heavy truck pulling a trailer. I might have got 30,000 miles, maybe.
Yeah.
And when I tell you slick on one of them,
Really?
slick all the way around. Yeah, they started lobing, so every other grip,
Yeah.
right, was hitting, so it was skipping the grip. So at 70 miles an hour, you ain't getting that out. It was just, rotated them. Yes, I know you're supposed to rotate tires. Somebody asked me that. It was just,
You're supposed to what?
yeah,
They rotate
Yeah.
when you drive down the road.
that's what I told them. I said, you know how many times them jokers done rotated?
Yeah.
So anyway, this time I went, and I almost went Nitto Recon grapplers. I almost went Nitto Ridge grapplers. I almost went Toyo Open Country ATs. But every top 10 tire website I went to, and now I did know I was going all terrains. I knew that. No more mud tires for me. Hey, buddy, I'm out.
Right.
So I did know. So every top 10 all-terrain tire website, just about all of them in the number one spot was the good old BFG. The old BF Goodwrench all-terrains. They have a KO2 out now. And I said, you know what, last minute decisions. I said, that's it. I got them priced up. They were like $100 more than the Nitto Recon grapplers.
Okay.
And I said, let's go for it. Also, for the icing on top, I started about 2 days before this, I would turn the truck to the right and I would hear, whoom, 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 and I would straighten up and it would go away. And I would turn to the right, whoa, 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 and I'm thinking,
Anything to the left? Only to the right?
only to the right. And here is a little tidbit for people who may not know. If your truck makes a rotating noise when you only turn one way, you're about to buy a wheel hub. Because all the weight transfers to that hub, and your hub's going out. So I figured that's what it was. I did look at the tire just to make sure, it didn't have a bubble or a swell in it or something. And went to the local mechanic. I said, hey, buddy, can you pick the front end up for 2 seconds and let me look? He said, sure, man, pull it in. I pulled it in. Dude, as soon as here's my driver's front tire. He's jacking it up, and it goes, clunk. And
I was going to say, that's the old test where you lift it up and you kind of shake it to see if it pivots back and forth. Well, it just did it on its own.
Yeah. You ever driven like a really old tractor and the steering wheel was worn out? That's what my wheel was doing.
Let's
it was
go
just
with
shaking.
Yes. I'll say yes.
It was just shaking all over the place.
I'm from the city, if you don't remember.
So here's the thing. The hub holds your wheel on. Your wheel holds you on the road. It's an important piece of equipment on your truck.
Yep.
Unlike a blinker, who uses those? A wheel hub is very important.
Yeah.
And you don't put a cheap wheel hub on. So anyway, I called the tire place. I said, all right, order me these 4 tires. That's what I want. Also going to need a front hub assembly. He said, okay. And I was like, just checking, making sure you guys don't put the cheapest one on there. And they're like, nope, we put the most expensive one on. I was like, ooh.
Okay, can we get a middle of the road?
Yeah, how about middle of the road? So I said, that's fine,
Yeah.
So the
Safety's
hub,
no accident.
no, that's right. The hub was $400. Now you could buy a good hub for $200. This one might have had something special. I don't know, but anyway, I got that and I got the 4 new tires on, and you might as well give me another truck.
Really? Just night and day.
Oh, night and day, man, night and day.
Well,
it is
I know
amazing.
you're in the country, but the reality is you probably don't need a mud tire. Like,
here's what I discovered with the mud tires. If Betty White, which is my truck, if she decides she's fixing to set down, she's going to set down, and it don't matter what tires you have on it.
You could put tractor tires on her. And
Exactly. It does not matter. And I was thinking mud tires would give me better maneuverability in the slick clay we have here. Nope. It makes zero difference.
I get your thinking because of like construction sites and things like that.
That's it. Yeah.
But that's that's what 10% of your driving, whereas
1%.
yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you got
Yeah.
a tire that's for
Yeah.
less than 10% of your driving, and
Yep.
now, yeah, I think you'll experience this all up. I mean, it's kind of like people make fun of me because I insist on having a 4-wheel drive, but
Hmm.
I only use it probably 1% of the time. I had a weird thing happen with my 4-wheel drive, actually, not to mention it, but we have ice and we have snow, you know, and so I'm like, well, when we have those occasions, I want that available to me. Like that's an
Yeah.
upgrade that I think is worth it. But yeah, I don't go off road a lot, or but now with the trailer, if we got to get a little steep incline and some
Hey,
gravel, it's better for everybody
that
if we just kind of lock her in.
that trailer will foul you up in 2-wheel drive, buddy.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Oh yeah.
I use 4-wheel drive a lot, a lot. But I went with them. I'm already noticing they drive better on rocks. They drive a lot better in sand. A mud tire will break your neck in sand.
Yeah.
They start to jump. The ride quality is better, way better.
It's got
And
to
how
be.
about this? Since yesterday, I've gained almost 3 miles per gallon.
I was gonna say, I bet your gas mileage is better.
Yep.
Well, I'll
So
tell you this too. Since we're, as my buddy Pope would say, since we're Ram buddies,
yeah, Ram.
have you? So yours is what years is yours? Yours like an 18, 20,
No, 2012.
12. Okay, so you definitely don't have the push button or the switch gear changer. You've got on the
No,
column.
yeah, I've got on the column, but I got the switch 4-wheel drive,
Okay,
the round
so
one.
I have switch gear changer manual. It's one thing I like about the Tradesman. Tradesman is the only model that has manual shifter for 4-wheel drive. Everything else got the electronic. But Ram, we need an override because those of us with trailers who want to drive with the door open, you can't do it with that rotary dial.
Oh, they done safety Nazi'd you tail out of there, didn't
It
they?
throws that sucker in park as soon as you start trying to go, and it'll about break your neck and make you want to cuss. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really annoying. But hey, some of us with trailers, I mean, like these, I mean, you got 2,500. There needs to be a way to turn it. I see why, because with that rotary dial, there's been a couple of times that I've jumped out of the truck and left it in drive or reverse. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, but I feel like I should be able to manually override that when I'm backing a trailer or something that I know. But man, it sucks. But my partner's, he's got I think his is the same year as mine, 2020, 2021, and he's got on the column, and he doesn't have that override. Like it's just associated with that switch.
But do you have a backup camera?
I do.
All right, so that would almost be a trade-off for me because I don't have a backup camera. So when I get close, I leave my door open, right? And I back up 3 inches, whatever, and I get out and I look, hop back in, and I leave my door. So that would be good for me. But then if I had a backup camera, I wouldn't need to have the door open as much backing up. But
Well, there's times where the backup camera still doesn't put you spot on with the hitch because, like rain, get a raindrop on the camera lens.
yeah, you'd be 8 inches off.
Yeah. And you know what you also can't tell? You can't tell how high or low the trailer is.
That is, yep.
I'm backing up the other. Wham! Oh my God! I thought the trailer was up, and I'd forgot that I'd lowered it to sit level for a few days while it was parked, and
Yeah.
it was right in line with the ball, and I just smacked it. And I was like, oh well, I just nailed the trailer.
The guy that rented the camper this weekend,
Rented again?
Well, it's a different guy.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
going good.
Oh yeah, and next weekend it's already booked up.
Well, hey, all right. You got to pencil me in for Talladega
All right.
in the fall.
Well, we'll take it off. We'll take it off of the website for that weekend.
All right.
nobody else can
I'm gonna
get
rent it from you for Talladega in the fall.
But well, you don't want to go to the website because that's going to cost you. It costs about an extra
No,
$250,
I want to rent it from
$300.
you. I don't want to rent
That's
it
what
from
I'm
those.
saying.
I want to rent it from you.
That's what I'm saying. You need to rent it just from me, not through the
There you go.
website. But anyway, he was coming back. He was coming in hot too, man. He's like, "Oh, I got a backup camera. I'm good." And he started backing up, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, we got to raise it up some, man.
Well, so it survived the
Too
first
low.
guy who had too little truck.
It did. It
got back.
survived.
All the everything in place, everything intact. Any damage? Anything?
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I should say it.
Oh,
on the podcast.
He didn't clean the pooper tank, did he? It's the pooper tank.
He cleaned it. No,
Okay.
it wasn't. It was in the master bedroom.
All right, little offline story.
Yeah.
Producer Tommy's on the phone, so we might need to talk about this offline.
Yeah, had to take care of that. Had to do a
Okay.
little. And I'm not going to tell you what it smelled like. It smelled like a. So they were from. How do I?
Ooh,
how
is
do
there
I
a
put
no
this?
smoking clause on this thing? Like, do you have something in place to keep people from like smoking in it?
Yes, there is absolutely no smoking in the camper.
Like, is that? I mean, is that part of their agreement? Is that known?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that would be terrible.
We get so if somebody smokes in the RV, Tammy and I get a check for $500 from that person.
Ooh,
Yep.
yeah, that'd be a punch in the nose. Actually, I mean, as soon as you dropped it off, you smoked in my camper. I mean,
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's a camper.
Yeah.
Walk 3 feet and smoke outside all you want. Don't be stinking up my camper.
I held my head out the window.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, it smelled like their culture's food.
Okay,
I will put it to you like
spicy.
that. Yep. Their food smells. It rhymes with furry.
Uh-huh.
And apparently it has a very strong scent to it, and
Yeah.
we had to fumigate it out. I'm not hating at all.
No,
I'm just saying that's what you guys eat. But
that could be offensive to the next person. I mean, it could.
yeah,
be,
we had to fumigate it out. We had to run some oils and stuff in there.
You should put some charcoal. I can't think of what they're called right now, but I had to do it one time. You can get like those charcoal pads, like almost like fish tank pads, but just put them in the air return.
Yeah,
You just put them in that air return, so it's as it's cycling air, it's cycling it through that charcoal, just for any general smells that
odors,
that people might bring with them. Whether they just got bad BO or they cook funky food in there.
Right, because you can't tell somebody, hey, you can't cook your food in here.
Yeah,
and you can't say I'm not renting to this ethnicity or race of people because you can't do that. You just it's kind of you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But like I said, that was the only thing, and they brought. He didn't park it anywhere near where it came from. He parked it 30 feet over. He was like, "Can I just park it over here?" And Tammy's like, "Yep, just drop it off." So that went good, and the guys came and picked it up. Some more guys came and picked it up on Thursday to take it out. So they are enjoying it now.
Yeah.
And then next weekend, somebody's going to come and get it. So
I'm glad that's working out, man. I really am. Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's go get an RV share. I mean, they make a couple $100 off of each, rental, but it don't come out of our pocket. We get what we want, but that covers your insurance. They do a background check, like a driving history check.
Yeah.
It's 150 of it is insurance. They reserve fees. So I mean, it is what it is. But it protects
but even
us.
if you were only making, I don't know, let's say bad money. Let's say $50 a night off of it. I mean, that's more than you were making off of it sitting in the yard. While you're not using it.
Yep.
I might not do that as like an investment plan if I was making that, that kind of money. I mean, I might not go out seeking RVs to put on RV share if that's what the return was. I mean, you want it to be more profitable than that. But somebody like in your situation that, bought a camper for other reasons, and now you're like, hey, can we turn some revenue with this thing?
Because it's a nice camper. It's not a junked up camper. It's in really great shape. So let's let somebody else have it.
Well, like we said, sitting for a camper is bad. That's bad.
Yep.
It's bad for the tires, bad for the roof.
Yeah, as evident from the toilet flush valve that we had to replace. Hey, they
really?
went $50 for a piece of plastic. Yep, comes through, and that's what the valve is. That flushes the toilet, and you can't get to it. It has a screw holding it in that you have to pull the toilet.
Oh, really?
To turn it backwards to get to the screw to swap, and swapping the part out took 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Me and Butter Smooth did it. Of course, I didn't make him get all down on the floor. I did that. He handed me tools and stuff. But anyway, that was that. We got that fixed. So it's all right. I don't mind it. Mind it. We got Frank's house done.
Nice. Builder Frank. For those of you who don't remember, this is one of Mitch's builders.
We got it done. We had a little bit of a bad experience with Trey hauling the small trailer.
Okay.
So number one, he has not yet got trailer brakes on his truck.
Okay.
So the first day, as soon as we got back, he went on some website and ordered a brake controller for his truck. I said, yep, probably a good idea.
So what is smaller trailer? Because big trailer's 20 foot.
Yeah, smaller trailer.
8 by 20?
Yep. And smaller trailer's 8 by 16 tandem axle. Heavy.
Okay.
It's pretty heavy.
Okay.
It didn't have a lot of cabinetry in it, but as the story unfolds, right, we were going up there. I had the bases and the fridge wrap in my trailer. Trey had some bases in his trailer, and we left the overheads here. We said, well, we'll just take the overheads tomorrow. So we're talking 3 complete trailer loads of cabinets in this man's house. So I run into Frank. What do we call him? Frank.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank's like, hey, man, you got a planer? I said, yeah, I got a planer. I said, I got 2 of them. Matter of fact, I ain't trying to brag, but I got 2 of them.
He tried to brag, but he got a couple of them.
He said, well, I need to use one. I said, man, I got one that sits back, and I messed up because I told him I got one that sits here I don't ever use. He's like, oh, really? And I said, you're more than welcome to bring your wood down here and use the planer. You're more than welcome to get the planer, take it up there, keep it as long as you need to. Bring some boys with good backs to help you load the planer up because she's about 700-800 pounds.
So not a DeWalt. We're not talking about like a DeWalt. Or
this is the big Grizzly
planer.
20-inch, the big one.
Okay.
So he's like, man, you want to sell that planer? And I said, I don't know, man. You know, I hate selling tools, dude. I hate it.
It's funny.
I said, I don't know, man.
He beat me to the question.
Yeah, I was like, you know, he's like, well, just let me know if you want to sell it. I'll just buy it. And I said, okay. Well, I didn't really think about it anymore. About an hour later, he's like, well, man, you gonna sell that planer? And I said, maybe I will. And so about another hour goes by, and he's like, well, what you want for that planer? I said, all right, fine, I'll sell it to you. And I said, what I'll do is we'll try to bring it in the morning with us. So this is day 2 of the install, right? I said, we'll try to bring it in the morning. He said, okay, just bring it over.
He hasn't necessarily seen this yet. He's just like
sight unseen.
Down for it.
Yep. So I took it, and no money. We have not talked about how much I wanted for it or anything, right? So we show up at his shop with his overheads on that trailer. The planer is in the front of the trailer. Trey has the trailer hooked to his truck. I'm in the 20-foot trailer. I've got crown, I've got scribe, I've got quarter round, 16-foot crown. I've got molding in mine, right? So Trey pulls in there.
I should probably say something instead of just nodding my head since this is a podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So we let the ramp door down on Trey's trailer.
Okay.
The overheads have come unclamped, and they fell over. Oh. And there's a perfect line across all 4 doors. And I said, crap. And, of course, Frank is right there looking in the, I wouldn't have hid it from him anyway. Right. I mean, it was obvious. But he's like, I said, yeah, So we looked at the doors, and I'm thinking, and so right at that moment, I went from we're going to be done today to now we have to take these doors all the way an hour and 15 minutes back to the shop, sand them down, repaint them, 3 coats, load them up, take them all the way an hour and 15 minutes back up here, hang 4 doors, drive an hour and 15 minutes. So that one little
on a job that will remind you that you penciled to death trying to give a good.
Oh, exactly.
Trying to give a good price for because it was a builder. So,
yeah, and sat here till 10 o'clock one night getting
margins are slim.
Yep, getting everything ready, dude. I sat here on my own dime, and I got everything ready for this job. I said, this is going to be the smoothest thing, man. Boom. So now here we go, another wasted trip. Yeah. Well, the planer, so when we stopped at Waffle House that morning, right, on the way, the planer had turned over on the trailer. We had it strapped down, but we left it on the dolly, which was my bad. So I guess it vibrated a little bit and shifted and fell over.
So we picked it up. Fell off the dolly, got enough slack that it was able to do something else, or you think the dolly just shot out from underneath it?
Oh, no, it had wiggled to the edge of the dolly, or the dolly had wiggled out from under it, and it just leaned over and leaned into the front of the trailer. So we had to fix that in the Waffle House parking lot. Then we get to the builder's shop, right? The overhead is knocked over. So I said, Trey, you ain't having good luck. Of course, none of it's Trey's fault. It's just, It is what it is. So anyway, we get the overheads off. We get the planer off finally, put the overheads back on, and he goes to close the ramp door, and somehow or another the ramp door makes contact with the license plate light and bust it off the back of the trailer.
How
I
in
don't
the
know how
world?
it happened. I don't know how that happened.
Where's the
But
license plate light at?
it's right beside,
Like
it
mine's
sticks
down
out
at the
right beside
bottom.
the ramp.
Like,
This
mine's
one's right
down
beside the
low.
ramp. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we get there and we have to set the island that day and set a few bases, set all the overheads. There
Yeah,
were 8
you got a
overheads.
lot of hate on Facebook over that island, boy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But we did all that stuff, and then so the next day we planned on Joel repainting the doors. Trey and I were going to go back up there. The only thing we had left to do is put a few pieces of hardware on, a couple little tied in things. Well, so that's Wednesday morning, right? I'm thinking Tuesday night when I go to bed, the last thing Trey heard was, hey, we're going to come in at 8 o'clock because we got back pretty late. We're going to come in at 8 o'clock in the morning because if I keep the guys out past 6 or 7 o'clock, I let them come in an hour later. So I said, okay, we'll do that. We'll meet up at 8. We'll go up there and knock it out. Joel will repaint the doors in the morning. He'll bring them up there to us. We'll be done. My wife, my lovely bride, goes, no, you won't. We're taking our son to Dave and Buster's tomorrow.
Oh.
You're not going to be here. And I was like,
Birthday
"Shoot."
day for JoJo.
Yep. So I had to call Trey. Change of plans. You guys are going to go hang those 4 doors and adjust all the doors, adjust all the drawer fronts, make sure everything is absolutely perfect. And you're going to go do that. And he's like, no problem, dude. We got it. Cool. I get a phone call on the way to Birmingham from the builder. He's like, hey, I just had one question about these cabinets. I said, yes, sir. Now, this is a winged island, right? It's an island. It's got 2 wings on a wing on either side of it that the countertop rests on.
Okay.
So the sides of the island look like they're 4 feet deep, but then the actual island in the middle section is only 2 feet front to back. He wanted a board ran from wing to wing to support the granite, right? Because it's a 2-foot overhang on the back. It's just supported on either edge.
Right.
So I said, yeah, I'll do that. And I said, just fair point, it does no good to span a 3-inch piece of maple 8 feet. And it's going to take about 3 pounds of pressure, and I can bow that board, right? It's not holding anything up. He said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to scab on a 2x4 behind it, run adhesive all the way across the top, suck it up to the countertop, and then it's got to break the adhesive, in order for the wood to bow any, right? Which makes sense. So I was like, all right, whatever you want to do, we'll do it. So then I had to call Trey back Wednesday morning and say, hey, on top of that, you guys need to make this rail, paint it, let it dry, load it up, and take it up there with you. Of course, he's like, no problem. So I get a phone call Wednesday afternoon, and he's like, hey, we're done. Everything is finished. Everything is done. And that's when I went on Facebook, and said, it gave him a shout out basically.
Yeah.
I said, man, it's a really good thing to be able to do that and turn the guys loose on it, and they can just take care of it. So
you're getting there. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, that's it. That's the growth that you want. You're getting
and
there.
It's not, and I don't want people to hear I made them do the work. I want people to hear I needed them to fill in for what I had to do, and they were able to do it. I mean, no question asked, and so it was really good to be able to do that. And I didn't worry not one time. The whole time I was up there in Birmingham, we had a good time, and I didn't have to worry about it. So that was good.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what it's all. I mean, eventually you need to get to the point where, hey guys, this is what I need you to do today. I've got drawings for the next job to work on. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to work on those. And that way, when your night comes, you're off like a normal person, and you're able to have your evening with your family, and you spent your work day doing the things that you need to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like you need to, I mean, you are the owner. I mean, so I don't feel like you need to justify it per se, but I know you don't like dumping work on,
that's
on
the
people.
thing.
But I think you got to just remind yourself that it's the delegation of the work. That's what you've been working towards, is to get guys in place that you can delegate work to, so that you don't have to be there for every little piece.
Yeah,
and then that lets you focus on the things that they can't do. Like they've got this list of things that they are able to do without you, but there's also a whole business plethora of business things that they can't do. That's you.
Right.
That
Yep.
you need
Yep.
that time freed up to be able to do you.
And it is. There's a lot of late nights, and actually, I don't know if we're going to get to that this week, but hey, buddy, the hours I put in out here is a lot, and I'm not complaining about it. That's what I signed on for. So
Yeah.
don't hear me complaining. But it is nice to be able to go home at the end of the day sometimes,
Right.
and I make it very clear. Like, when was that? Friday, Thursday. I had to work on. So I had to button up some drawings, right? Which is when I go through and I make sure everything is labeled right. I do all my cut list, all my cut sheets, all that stuff. I told Trey, I said, "Hey man, the shop's messed up." I said, "If you can go through and just kind of organize, let's go ahead and do the inventory for this week now. Let's organize, pick up, put up, anything like that. I'll be in the office." And I made it a point to go out, once every 30, 45 minutes and just say, "Hey man, what's up?
Yeah.
Is everything good?" And, and we do stuff. I mean, I may come in here and watch a 5-minute YouTube video before I get started. You know what I mean? But at the same time, he may go out there, he may be sitting down looking at Facebook for 10 minutes while he's, in between sweeping floors. It's just,
Right.
it's not a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that your employees or the people that work for you, they never feel like you think you're better than they are or above them, or, I really avoid that because I dealt with that 14 years.
Well, and a lot of it's the way that you're structured too, right?
Yep.
The
Yep.
way that your employee, we use the word employees loosely, but the way your employee structure is, and I mean, I don't know how much into it you want to give, but I mean, your employee structure is that they're actually not employees. They're contract services.
Yeah.
So that has a different dynamic than versus a an hourly W-2 employee who's got a punch time out. I mean, because I don't know what the Alabama labor laws are, but like Tennessee, I mean, that starts affecting, breaks, lunch breaks, things like that, that you got to be aware of, so it depends on the way that everything is structured.
Yeah.
But, you don't have to belittle them, but you don't want to be hiding. You kind of want that free exchange of information. And again, it's not that you have to justify it to anybody. You're the business owner. You can do what you want. I mean, you could come in and say, "Hey guys, these are the 5 things that you need to do for the day. I'll be back at the end of the day," and that really could be the end of the conversation. But I don't know how well what are you going to get out of them while you're gone? How many times are you going to do that before you have to find the right person to stay?
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of other things that go to that versus saying, "Hey guys, I need you to do these 5 things today. I'm going to be in the office. I'm going to focus on drawings for the next job. I'm going to order some materials for the next job. And then, all the, hardware and stuff that we've used, I'm going to get that replaced so that we're ready to roll. But if you need anything, come let me know. I'm going to be working on this. You guys work on this. And then that way tomorrow we're all ready to rock and roll."
Yep.
And it's a few extra words, but I feel like it's words that are worth the time because you're giving information in both directions.
And you have to, yeah, and we've covered it several times, but how often do you hear somebody say, "I'm just a number, man. Nobody gives a crap about me. They can replace me at a drop of a hat." And when you have people and dude, I felt that way. 14 years I was in that life where I literally couldn't have a just regular conversation with my superior. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't talk to him about a birthday party. Couldn't. They never came and said, "Man, how's your kid doing? I heard he was sick." There was none of that.
Did they even know you had kids?
Yeah, exactly. It was absolute, man. It was absolutely structured, and they had 3,500 employees. I get it. We don't.
Right.
There's 3 people total that work in this building.
But even
You
at
know,
3,500 employees, that's still broken down. It's still broken down
right? Oh
into
yeah,
elements
yeah.
that could be managed, that could be, more personal. And I mean, you probably got a team leader that's got what, 20 people. I
Yep,
mean,
that's what we,
you're telling me a team leader can't be involved with those 20 people and know, that you got 3 kids, and might not be able to remember all their names or anything, but you can remember basics,
yep.
and just remember to check on them from time to time.
And when I got team leader, and I'm not saying they said you can't go out there and talk to them, but I had some people above me made it clear you're not their buddy. You are here to absolutely make sure and okay, that's fine. But if you look at the morale at that place now,
Oh
you see
yeah,
the results of that attitude.
yeah,
Meanwhile, we had Joseph's birthday party at the Mexican restaurant Friday night. Trey was there.
right,
Trey showed up, and he was there. And he wasn't there because I made him go.
right.
He was there because he cares about Joseph. He cares about the family, and he wanted to be there for the birthday party. Dude, if my boss lady would have come to me and said, "Hey, you want to come to my little boy's birthday party?" I would have had to watch how I answered that. I promise you.
Well, it's also different because it's also not just your son; it's actually his coworker's birthday.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, they work together.
that's right.
A lot. I mean, even though
Yep,
he's 12,
11 now.
11 now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's turning 11, he works there. I mean,
Yeah,
and works a lot. I mean, so it's again, it is a little bit of a different dynamic. Because it's not just the boss's kid. It's kind of my coworker, my buddy. I mean,
yeah,
they're in some. I mean, I know he won't let Joseph be in any of his gangs, but
yeah. They were in a few games. They were in the pepper sauce gang, I think.
oh, okay,
Yeah, they were in
okay,
the pepper sauce gang. But that actually is a good thing because I actually had in managing employee times and clock in or not written
yeah,
down on the list. And so I wanted to kind of, and I know, but Travis you have had employees, you have had people that worked under you.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Plenty
Not
of
in this
times.
business, not in this business, but yeah,
Not in this
other
business, but the concept is the same no matter what you're doing.
right.
And I pay more attention to that, I think, than I thought I would. And I don't mean paying attention to how many hours they turn in. That's my wife's job. I don't write paychecks. I don't look at their hours. If Tammy sees something that she didn't know about, some hours that maybe she wasn't aware of, she'll go, "Hey, what'd y'all do this day?" or whatever, and I'll say, "Okay, this." She's like, "All right." But managing their time, right? Managing their weekends off, managing their end of the day shift, managing, if one of them shows up late, if Trey calls and says, "Hey man, I'm running a little late this morning,"
Yeah,
managing how you deal with that, and managing, how strict are we going to be about getting off at 3:30, and I feel like we enjoy it better just kind of going through this thing and saying, "Hey man, it's 3:15, cut out." Friday,
yeah,
it was like just after 3 o'clock, and I was like, "Dude, we ain't doing nothing the rest of the day. Go home. It's Friday." Because we weren't doing anything. It's not
right,
like I'm trying to, powder your butt or something and try to make you my buddy. We're not doing anything. I'm managing your time,
right,
And I told him, I said, "I'm never going to cut your hours involuntarily. I'm going to give you the option, hey, we're done for the day. If you want to cut out, go home. But you
right.
can absolutely 100% stay and get your 40 hours. 100%. A couple Fridays ago, I was like, "Look, we're not doing anything at the shop today. We had a lot of other stuff going on." I said, "You want to take the day off?" He's like, "Yeah, why not?" I was like, "Okay, cool. Take the day off." He needs a day off. He goes, "Hey, I got to go out of town, whatever. I don't feel like coming in today." Okay, no big deal. The reason, and I get it, if you have 9 or 10 people or whatever, and y'all have this whole structure thing, I'm talking just two men talking to each other
Yeah,
about time. It's not that big of a deal, man. The return that we get out of operating that way is better, in my opinion, than having a. That's why there will not be a time clock in here. There will never be a punch card. There will never be a clock. I won't hang a clock up in the shop. You can go one end to the other. You'll never see a clock. Right? We got cell phones. He can wear a watch if he wants to know what time it is.
Yeah.
And the idea of that is we're task oriented, not clock oriented. And so guess what? If it's 3:00 and I say, hey, we need to sand these last couple cabinets before we go. All right, fine. I'm task orienting each day.
Right.
And some days you get done early. Some days you get done a little bit later. And, you know, instead of him sitting there waiting on that daggum clock to hit 3:30, I want our minds to be looking at what we need to accomplish for that day.
Well, I think it's a lot of the way you're structured, right? So, to me, if you're gonna count hours that they didn't work, right? Then you also have to be super aware of the hours that they do work. Mm-hmm. So, easy explanation of what I mean is on, let's say Monday, they only work 7 hours. So you're like, all right, you're an hour short for today. All right. So I'm going to dock you. Let's just kind of use that word right now. We're going to dock you. You're at 7 hours, but tomorrow, Tuesday, they work 9 hours. So now we're actually they're actually an hour ahead, right? If you're going to sweat the hour on Monday, then you got to be aware of the hour on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to sweat the hour on Monday, then that lets you not sweat the hour on Tuesday so much, because that means on Wednesday or Thursday when they get done a little early, they're going to earn it back. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I had a guy, he was like, he's like, you leave when the day is done. Okay, for one, at the beginning of the day, tell me what you want me to do.
Yeah.
So that I can manage my time and I can manage my day. Now, I get that not every day, there will be days that things will come up towards the end of the day and like, hey, before you go, I need this taken care of. Got you, check Raj. But that can't be every day, right? I'm a grown man. I've got children. I've got things that I need to do as well. This is just a means of living outside of here. So remember that for your employees. Like, their life is not your business. It's not. I mean, you want it to be, and you want them to value your business and you want them to value everything about it, but your business is not their life. That's just a means for them to make some money so that they can do life. But this particular guy, it would, the clock would strike, 3:00, and that's when my 8 hours was up, and I would check out and go because I had done everything that I thought that I was supposed to do. Hadn't heard from him all day, and he's like, well, we were over here doing this. And I was like, well, how was I supposed to know? You know? And, so that didn't work. But if you're going to, if you got more employees, if you got like a bunch of employees, then that's a multiplier, right? 15 minutes for 2 guys, not a big deal. 15 minutes across 10 people, that starts to get to be a big deal. I mean, it's, I worked for a janitorial company one time, and one of the sites that I managed, it had like 20 people there, I think. And when we took over the contract, their mode of operation was from the previous. So we kept a lot of employees. They were housekeeping staff, and they were contracted, and we kept them on with us when we took over the contract. We're there for the first week for observations, to optimize and kind of figure out how we want to do things. And their mode of operation was they would pull up. There was a door outside of the housekeeping office, get out of their car, leave the car running, come in and clock in, get back in the car. Then they go down and park and eating their Fruit Loops or, Wonder Snack as they walked up to the building. And it's now been 15, 20 minutes since they've clocked in, and we've produced nothing. Yeah, and you're like, that can't happen, because then they want to stay over on the backside because they haven't got their task done. Well, we don't have enough time to do that. Well, you did. You killed 20 minutes eating your Fruit Loops, walking from your parking spot to the building. Yeah. I mean, when you got a multiplier of 10 people, that those things really add up. I mean, when you start thinking of in terms of man hours.
Yep.
right? I mean, when you talk about two guys, 15 minutes, that's a half a man hour, and then they do that two or three times, that can make a big deal. But I
Yeah.
think I think you got to balance it, right? And it sounds like the way you run things is you're structurally balanced, right? Where I'm not going to, we're done early today. Go ahead, kick out, take advantage of it, because tomorrow I may need to take advantage of you. Kind of that
Yeah.
kind of that sounds a little rough, but I think you know what I'm saying. Like,
Exactly. And it's not 50-50. Like, I'm not thinking if he heads out 10 minutes early, now I've got to keep him 10 minutes late,
oh right, yeah,
another day. It's those hey, let's go ahead and finish this are few and far between. I decide to go ahead and say, let's cut out more than I do. Hey, because guess what? On install days, you're making money.
yeah,
We got out the first day at Frank's house. We left the job site at 3:30. Came here, loaded 2 more trailers worth of stuff. Their time didn't end till almost 6 o'clock.
right,
The next day, we didn't leave the house until 6 o'clock and come home. So but I tell them as soon as they show up, hey, on install days, I don't know. I don't know
right.
how long we're going to work, depending on how the day goes. You know.
And that's
So
easy to manage when you know that.
That's
all
right.
On Monday, I know we're starting an install on Thursday, right? Like my brother-in-law, who works for, I don't care, I ain't lose nothing from it. He works for DirecTV, and Terminex, that terrible company I work for, they ran their employees the same way. I mean, he shows up for work at the beginning of the day and has no idea what time he's going to get off at night.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you do that, man? Like, I feel like that is the worst way ever to treat somebody. I'm talking about like at 3 o'clock, he can get another job dropped on him. Like, you think you're almost done, I mean, you started at 7, and at 3 o'clock, you think you're almost done. You've got an hour drive back. Nope. Here comes through the computer system. Another job gets dropped on you. And it's just a terrible way. And Terminex would do that. They would want them to work like on Saturdays. And I was like, that was kind of actually the straw that broke the camel's back when I left. Was I said, okay, so you want them to work overtime on Saturdays. I get that. I don't want to work Saturday because I don't get paid for it. They're at least getting overtime. I said, but on Thursday, can we commit to them by lunchtime on Thursday if they are or are not working on Saturday? Yeah, we can do that. That sounds fair.
Yeah.
Well, after about 3 times of breaking my word, that we're not working that Saturday, but we gotta get the revenue, we gotta get the revenue, we gotta get the revenue. But the bad thing is that they would work that Saturday, right? Because the jobs were there to be done, but then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're having to go home early because the sales weren't there.
Exactly.
Like, we could have given them the day off and moved that stuff to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and let them have their full jobs, and we would have paid them time and a half.
Yep.
And we would have paid them regular time, and everybody would have won more.
Everybody wins, man. When I tell you, oh, it's like you're rehashing these memories that I buried down way down deep in my soul. They had to tell us by last break, which was about an hour and a half before we got off, whether or not we were working a 10-hour shift or an 8-hour shift.
See, that's just
Now, half of that line, and I'm not kidding you, dude, there's no exaggeration, half of that line was single mothers with children.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you
Still
plan?
at home.
How do you?
That are on their last break. You got 10 minutes, buddy, to go to the bathroom, to go get a drink, refill your water, do whatever you need to do.
Rearrange your life.
Rearrange who gets your kids, where they're going to go, who's going to pick them up, who's going to have them. And it didn't matter if it was first shift. You're talking, after school, somebody's got to pick them up.
Right.
Second shift, now grandma's getting out of bed at 10:30 at night, going to getting a kid.
Yeah.
And you're going to give these people 1 hour heads up, an hour and a half heads up, and I mean, I have taken people's place online as team leader for them to go off and beg the manager, I literally don't have anybody to get my child. I'm it. I don't have family here.
We got to work.
We got to work. Sorry.
Cars must be made.
Sorry. And it infuriated me, man. It made me so mad. And guess what? The next day, get off early.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And it was one of those things, man. and they trained you to look for the bell ringing. So we had this whistle bell tones thing that went off.
I think of the Flintstones. Like you remember, I mean, like
Yep.
the
Yep.
doo. I mean,
Yep.
is that siren went off and it was
Yep.
just as fast as I can go. Let me get out.
And it was ding doo doo ding doo 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 doo. You know, they try to make it all relaxing.
Yeah.
You drop whatever you're doing and you take off running, man. And you got 10 minutes. And at the end of that 10 minutes, they had a bell ring. And if you weren't in your place, you're in the office, you're getting rode up. You know, you're dealing with that. Why didn't you have your line cut on time and all this stuff? And management thinks we're teaching them to respect the clock. What happened was you were teaching them to watch the clock and get ready for that clock to go off. So guess what? Your employees
5 to 10 minutes before that siren went off.
Yeah.
Ain't doing jack.
They're your employees. You have trained them. Congratulations. To look every 3 or 4 minutes at that clock and determine how much longer you have left, and you can't wait because that clock ran our stinking lives, man. For 14 years, that clock ran our whole lives. And now, instead of focusing on making their process better, making your product better, you're teaching them to look at a clock and to focus on the clock, right? And that was my mindset of coming in here. And I think Tammy, 5 years ago said, "You want to get a clock?" I said, "Absolutely not. There's no clocks in here." Because I'm tired of being ran by a stupid clock. And that's why we don't do, clock ins. We don't clock out. Trey, how many hours did you work this week? And he gives us a breakdown of every single day, what time he started and what time he got off.
Yeah.
And we pay him based on that, And the last thing I want him to do is worry about a stupid clock in here, man.
Yeah.
Oh, 10 more minutes, man. I got to stay here 10 more minutes. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, and I get so those of you who are listening who like have multiple employees and you're having to manage like budgets, more constrained budgets and things like. I get it when you start talking about man hours and you got to break down when you've got those multipliers. I've been there. I understand what you're saying. I mean, we had a policy with one company that on Fridays as a money saving incentive, we had to force 300 people to go home 15 minutes early. But on Monday, I had to lie to the customer and to explain to them why people left early.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. Well, it was really because we mandated it because across 300 employees for my division, and then across 100,000 employees, nationwide or larger division, regional. It was a multiplier. It made money. It made big gaps, but it cost too. Because you've got a customer, because a lot of our stuff was contracted. You were actually contracted so many hours of service to that customer, right? Well,
Yep.
and they look at it
for those hours.
they look at it. I
Yep.
mean, we had Macy's during the holiday season, and one of the Macy's I had, the manager of those two Macy's, man, he watched every single minute. And I got a phone call every time that somebody was not in place for every single minute during the holiday season.
Yeah.
Because they were paying a premium for it, and they wanted what they were getting paid for. So I get it when you got things like that, but when you're in these smaller scopes of things, it's just a different dynamic, and it's a different way of setting it up, and you get what you give. You got to give grace to get grace, and when you say, "Hey, buddy, I know your kid's got a t-ball game today. Why don't you go ahead and bug out of here about 15 minutes early so you can get ready for that and you're not rushed?" That's going to buy you an hour, 2 hours of, "Hey, we got to bust this out, man. I'm sorry." Just little things, just being aware.
And this amazing thing happens too, by the way. So every now and then, Trey lives close to his parents, not with his parents. I want to be clear about that. But every now and then, they ask him to feed. They run a little farm. And they say, "Hey, can you feed in the morning?" He'll say, "Yeah, no problem. They're out of town, whatever." He'll text me, and he'll be like, "Hey, I got to feed, the goats or whatever in the morning. I'll be a little late." All right, cool. You know how many times I've had to remind Trey, "Hey, you came in 10 minutes late, so I need you to work 10 minutes late."
Right.
You know, I have completely forgotten about it, and I'll be like, "It's 3:30, man. What you doing?" He's like, "Well, I got here 10 minutes late, so I'm gonna work an extra 10 minutes." I'm like, "Okay." I'm not going to discourage him from doing it,
Right.
you know. But at the
I'm gonna let
same
him even
time,
himself up. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
At the same time, I'm not sitting here going, "Oh, well, you were 7 minutes late. You got to stay." Whatever, dude. I don't care, because on his timesheet, if he comes in a few minutes late, guess what his timesheet says? 7:08 to 3:30.
Yeah.
You know, 7:10 to 3:30. He takes care of it because he is a responsible adult.
But a lot. That's what I was gonna say. A lot of it does depend on that person now.
Yep.
Like it does.
You have to know your people.
You can't do that. I mean, because you guys go to lunch sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do they factor? Let's just say you're at lunch for an hour and a half. Let's say it's a long lunch for whatever reason. How do y'all factor? How do they factor that? Like, do they just say
We
it was
told
an
him,
hour?
no, we told him whenever he started, lunch is 30 minutes.
Okay.
I said, deduct 30 minutes from lunch. But the beauty of it is he rides with me to lunch.
Yeah.
So if we stay at the house more than 30 minutes, I'm well aware of it. I told him, I said, your time starts after 30 minutes. That's what we pay for. I'm not going to keep him there for an hour, right? And then say, well, be sure you take off an hour for lunch today. Oh, and you got to work 30 minutes late because I decided to sit around the house another 30 minutes. And in order for you to make your time up, you got to stay at 4 o'clock now instead of 3:30.
Okay.
So it's like,
He
it's on
always
me.
goes to lunch with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we eat
Okay.
lunch together every single day, every day.
Okay.
But yeah, so if I stay late, you know, then
So how would
it
you
is what
play
it
it?
is.
Let's just say that they went. Let's just say it was an employee that needed to go. That needed to go someplace else. Like they needed to go home because they had a dog, and they're like, "Hey, I need to let my dog out. I'm gonna eat lunch at home."
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say you give them 30 minutes for lunch, and they're gone for an hour. Like, well, I guess it doesn't really matter what you do. It more matters how the employee plays it, right?
I would see what they did.
Right. That's you see what I'm saying, right? Like,
Exactly. Yep.
If he comes back and goes, you know what, I was gone for an hour. I owe you 30 minutes at the end of the day. Check Raj. That's cool. You know, but if he's like, well, I mean, I took a 30-minute lunch and I can't help, I had to feed the dog, you know, and he's bouncing out, you know, on time.
Mm-hmm.
One day, okay, maybe not a big deal. I'm gonna check it later. But if it, you know, like I had an assistant manager, it drove him up the wall. We had one guy, they got a 30-minute lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would go to lunch. He would come back, clock in, almost. I want to say almost every day. It was pretty routine. He would then go to the bathroom, and it wore. You're muted. It wore him out, you know. And I was like, dude, what do you want him to do in 30 minutes? Like, by the time they go eat
Yeah.
and they get back, like, I get that it's starting to be a little routine. Let's talk to him, you know, because he would do the rate. We had walkie talkies, and he'd be like, "Boss makes $1, I make a dime. I just love pooping on company time."
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, across the radio while he's sitting in the bathroom. You know, I'm like, dude, it's not really necessary. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe he has a, you know, I mean, maybe his clock makes him go, you know, after lunch, like. Let's just don't get so burnt out about, you know, like so upset about it, you know. But hey, talk to him. You know, hey,
At my last job, there was a competition, I believe, sometimes to see how many trips you could take in a day without being pulled offline and how long you could take per trip.
oh, I'm sure.
When I tell you, I covered people who lost almost 3 hours a day in the bathroom. Yeah, that straight up. And then
Yeah.
when the boss man had the nerve to pull them offline and say, all right, come on now.
Get offended.
Well, you can't tell me how long I can stay in there.
Yeah.
It's my body. My body does what it wants to. I go when I need to go, and I stay as long as I need to stay, and this and that. They didn't have any leeway. Here's a news flash. It's better to have somebody working with you that you allow to give a crap about your business.
Yeah. For sure.
And that's a loaded statement, man. But when you have a person working with you that is vested in what you're doing, you don't have to have that conversation with them. You don't have to watch their time. You don't. I have no idea what Trey gets paid every week. Honest to God, I don't.
Yeah.
I have no idea. And because I know he's not going to go around and he's not going to sneak 5 minutes a weekend on a paycheck. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm hoping that we have developed, and it'll be up to him whenever we get him on the podcast. But I'm hoping we've developed an environment here where we can be honest. And if he needs time, he can take time. And it's just not a big deal.
Yeah.
Keep up with your time. I told him, I said, keep up with your time. But it is what it is.
Well, it's about the culture. It's about the culture that you develop and you foster in your business, right? That's part, right? It's like epoxy. Okay, there's a part A and there's a part B, right? Your part A is the culture that you embody and what you show, and that culture is created from every moment that you're in interaction with your customer. I mean, your employee. Well, your customer too, but your employee. And it's not just the good times. It's not just the bad times. It's not just the slow. It's all of it, And I do think that you have to be a little cautious about being too chummy and a little too buddy.
Yep.
With employees. Like you gotta put lanes, right? Now you determine what your lanes are, because part B is the personality of the employee.
Yeah.
Right? The personality of the employee, and you can't set the same lane. You can't set the same lanes for Trey as you do for
Baby cow.
Baby cow. Like you gotta do them. The end result has got to be the same, right? The way you treat them has to be the same at a big level, but at a lower level, the way you give them instructions, right, to do a task. One may be able to be told, 5 words to go do a task and take care of it. The other one may need more details and more instructions to do the same task. But just because of their personality, their knowledge, their whatever, they've got to be told a different way, told more things. But at the end of the day, they both got that task done, right? That's what you're measuring them on, is that I need these cabinet doors hung and ready to go, right? Okay, Trey's been doing it longer. Hey, hang cabinet doors on the uppers in this room. Hey, baby cow, this is what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to make sure everything's got plates on it first. Make sure your mounting hardware, your plates are done. Then you're going to put hinges on the doors, right? Those hinges latch onto the plates. Let me show you how one works.
Yep.
You may need more instructions because he's new, but at the end of the day, you're going to look and go, Trey got his doors hung, baby cow got his doors hung. Everything's copacetic in the world, and that's the standard that you're setting, and that's the standard that you're holding them to. But you can't treat them both the same way, and you can't get frustrated because one of them takes more instruction or more time than the other one does. Yeah. They're two different people, two different personalities, two different backgrounds, two different sets of experiences. You got to remember that.
I'm one of those guys that takes a lot of instruction.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not familiar with it, you better break it down, because you can't just tell me, chain the bulldozer down, and I'm like, okay, where?
Yeah.
Where do you want me to hook it? Where, you know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, it's like they, hey, chain this down, and you go back and look at it, and really the machine is chained to itself.
Yeah,
it's really not chained to anything. It's just chained to itself, and you're like, what the hell? And you're like, well, I did the best I could. I didn't really understand what you said. I don't know what that means.
My brother is one of those who doesn't give. He tells you the end result. Bind the tractor down. Well, you got your way of doing it, and I got my way. I would think I'm doing it. It's your trailer, your binders, your tractor, and I'm like, I'll sit there and think about it, and I'll be like, hey, you want me to run it through here and then around here?
Well, that reminds me of the video. There's a video of a guy binding a piece of machinery down to a trailer. I'm sure you've seen it. And you actually look, it's run through the trailer, and one of the hooks is actually hooked to a hole in the rim on the tire.
Yeah.
He's like, it's bound down?
Yeah.
I mean, I did what you told me. It's bound down.
That's right.
Now I didn't think that the tire is going to need to turn, and I've got a change to do. But I don't know anything about binding trailers. Like I saw an attachment point. I attached it. I bound it down. Thought I was good. I didn't know.
And you as the delegator, You can't get mad if you tell somebody to do something they've never done or they're not familiar with, and they do it wrong, or they don't do it your way. Let's say it. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Buddy, if you got a specific way you like for things to be done, you better communicate that.
And I know my kids are going to listen to this at some point in time, but it is the same way with kids. It is. Yep. It's the same way with explaining things to kids and then being mad that they didn't do it the way that you wanted it done because you didn't provide good instructions.
Yep.
I mean, it's really no different, you know.
Yep. And at the end of the day, if you'll notice, if you've been listening, if you'll notice, we're trying to make the end result at the end of the day where everybody feels like they're part of a team and they're involved and their opinion matters. My opinion goes.
Right.
And I'm not saying that to be conceited. It's just the truth of the matter.
Right.
What I say goes.
It's my name, it's my money, it's my business. I mean, I'm the one with the most on the line.
Yep. And I've also said, if you think I'm an idiot and I'm doing this the wrong way, then you voice your opinion and you say, hey, how about let's try it like this? And it happens all the time. Trey's like, hey, what if we put the shelves in before we did this? Okay, let's do it. And let's see, if it's better, it's better. If it's not, it's not. You have to understand, and it's a fine line that you walk with. Everybody that works here understands that if I go out there and I say, I want you to put the left door on and work your way from left to right, on the right door on and work your way from right to left, that's what it is.
Yeah, I need you to put all the lefts on. You go down the whole kitchen, all the left doors. Then, once all the left doors are on, you come back to the end and you put all the right doors on, and you work down the line. Yep. I don't want any of this left door, right door stuff.
That's right. And but if they don't feel like they can say, hey, Mitch, instead of moving the ladder everywhere and just going in circles, how about we do all the doors here and then all the doors there, without feeling like you're going to jump down their throat or you're going to say, no, I don't want it done that way. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They have to realize that if they come up with another way of doing it, they can at least bring it up.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it, right? And there's a lot of times that I'll say, well, I tried that. Here's why we can't do it that way. And like, oh, you know what? You're right. You know what I'm saying?
Take Tommy, for example. I mean, working on the podcast and working on things. It was today or yesterday. He was like, what do you guys, asking, for things to call the episode. And I was like, well, what do you got? Like,
yep.
You give us ideas. Like, you know the principle of what we're looking for, right? Mm-hmm. So you start giving us ideas. And I think I told him, there's really no wrong answer to this.
Yeah.
Shoot us something. We'll tell you if it's, for some reason, I couldn't think of a reason, but if it was just, god awful terrible or didn't relate to the episode at all, obviously, we would say no. But I'm like, no, you shoot us your ideas and let's look at them and let's go from there. You don't need to just suck ideas from us. Like, yep. Start thinking. Let's start the coaching process of you providing information. And we tell you, it's like a new employee where you're like, all right, I need you to do this. And then you start backing off of them where they start bringing things to you to see if that's correct or not. That's ultimately what you want.
You hit the nail on the head when you said, you think about it and let me know what you come up with. Guys, that's the mindset you want your employees to have. No matter what their job profile or their job name with your business is, you want them to have the mindset of, is there a better way to do this? Is there, always be thinking about that kind of thing instead of just being locked into Mitch said put the left door on first, and that's the way it is.
If they're not thinking about it, they're not bringing you ideas, they don't care. They're just going through the process. They're trying to collect their check. They're trying to go home, and they do not care. I mean, just
imagine if you work for an employer and you go to the owner of the company, and you say, "Hey, instead of putting the time clock over here, how about we hang the time clock up over here?" And you come in the next day and that time clock's moved. You're gonna feel good about that.
Yeah.
And you're gonna go home and you're gonna be like, wow, my opinion does matter.
Can we move the time clock closer to the break room so that when we go to break, we're not walking this way, clocking out, and then we got to walk a 4-minute walk to the break room because you're only giving us 10 minutes. Yep. Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yep. I'm a big believer in letting people do their thing, man. If you come
Or
up with a way,
I
do
say,
it.
you know what? We'll look at doing that like in a week or so. There's no power there. There's no data drop right there right now, but that is a good idea. We'll look at what it takes to move that, right? You might not be able to do whatever they want to do, but that doesn't mean you kill it or don't dismiss it. Give them a reason why,
Yep.
Or hey, can we not hang the left and then the right door and then I move over, we hang the left and the right door? Well, I want you to hang all the lefts first because
Yep.
I can't think of a reasonable explanation for that answer.
This is why we do it.
But this is why. And
Mm-hmm.
and even if it's not logical to them, it's not because I said so. It
Exactly.
at least gives them that you have a I might not understand it. And so as an employee, I need to ask more questions until I do understand it. And as a boss, as a supervisor, as an owner, I need to allow them to ask those questions until they do understand. Like I need to understand that them asking questions is a good thing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But I need them to always know why we're doing something. If they don't know the why, then we're not doing a good job.
And I'm telling y'all, I could tell you some stories that happened at my last job, but I would honestly be afraid that I would get knocked on the door from some legal department because they wouldn't listen to a guy that is on the line and does this job every single day. And he says, "Hey, we got a red flag over here that happened."
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, "Well, the engineers said it was fine."
Yeah.
Well, this group said it was fine. Quality control said it was fine. You know what I'm saying? The people who sit, no offense, but the people who sit behind the desk all day and have no idea what we even do out here said it was fine.
You're going to be like, were you on Camp Lejeune from 1976 to 1988? Drink the water. Were you working at this car manufacturer from such and such to such and such? If so, you may be allowed for a lawsuit.
Yeah, yeah. But, and a lot of companies do that. I get it. I worked in grocery stores. I worked, in a lot of different places, trying to figure out what I want to do for a living. And the companies that listened to the people who did it every day, they were better companies, period. They were just better companies to work for. The morale was higher. I'm a big believer in morale. Big time believer.
And my own morale. I want to be around people who want to help my morale.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have bad days too,
Yep.
Unfortunately, that's my wife's job is to make my morale better. Say, hey, it's going to be a good day. Like, get your frown off your face. Whatever's going on, you're going to be fine. Pucker up, big boy. You're going to survive.
But it's the whole when I have somebody that works here that walks in that door, I want them to be happy that they are here. Last thing I want is for somebody to and when you dig at the bottom of I saw it. We had temp workers, right? With no benefits, with no vacation, no nothing. And they were doing the same thing I was doing, the exact same thing I was doing. And I'm like, do you guys really think they're going to care as much as we do?
Right.
Making $9 an hour with no benefits whatsoever.
No even promise of coming back tomorrow.
That's right. And, in their mind, they were like, yeah, we don't see why they would try to sabotage us. We don't see why they would do anything. And I'm like,
that was a big thing up here at the GM plant up here. Where, I guess it takes like years. I don't know if it was that at that manufacturer, but it takes years to get off of temp status and to become an employee of the plant.
Yep.
I mean, and they I want to say rioted, but that's not the word. They struck, and picketed and, and everything for a while, trying to get that changed. I was like, well, jobs are, I didn't understand it because I'm like, jobs are out the wazoo. Just go someplace else. They don't, I don't know. Just to me, it's kind of easy. If the job doesn't appreciate you, go someplace else. But
yeah,
but I think you've got a different dynamic because, because, Butter Smooth emailed me this week.
Look, he showed me that video. He's like, look at this. He said, first of all, he goes, who controls y'all's social media? Is that you or Travis? I was like, that's Travis. That is Travis. 100%. That's him. I was doing this right here to you. That is him. That's Travis. He's like, I'm going to send him an email. And he showed me that video. And I was like, woo.
Well, I was listening to the podcast and we mentioned it in that episode. the episode
Yeah.
that just aired, we mentioned. I was like, oh, I never put that video up. Here he comes. And I
That's
actually posted
hilarious.
it to the wrong social media first. I posted it to my business page first. And I was like, oh, repost. We're going to do it on both. So,
Oh,
yeah.
it was.
But I sent him an email back. I was like, I sent you a little something in the mail to make up for it. I'm sorry.
And by the way, he says thank you very much for that.
He did. He emailed me back and said thanks. So I wanted to ask you about them. So, I mean, have you guys gotten a chance to use them at all?
We haven't measured anything.
I haven't measured anything. So
Not
I
yet.
sent. So we sent the hats and to Mitch and the guys down there. So I figured this is the only way I'm going to get him to try something is I sent him a couple of fast cap tape measures. So I like them. I really enjoy them. Derek and I both use them, and Derek's actually trying to put me on the 25 footer right now. He's like, I think you should buy a couple of 25 footers, and I held them up side by side because I was like, 25 is too heavy. I was like, I don't need that much foot, and it's almost the same shell. Like it is just a fraction bigger.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can get these for $8. Like
Right.
that's the thing.
I think it's a good tape. I think I hear a lot of good stuff about Fast Cap, and they make the tape measure holders.
They do. I don't use them, but
And they make a lot of things. See, I'm a big believer in the tape measure holders.
I have a tough. I need to send you a picture. I have a pouch from Tough Built. You're gonna let the Lowe's brand that I love. Like I think I have like 5 of them
So you put your tape on your pouch?
in the pouch. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a pouch and a tape holder. I'll shoot you a picture of my setup. You shoot me a picture of your setup.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine's
We'll
got
criticize
a
each
mine's
other.
got a knife pocket, so I keep a it's a folding razor blade, but I keep it unfolded and I keep it in there, and then it holds my tape.
Why do you use a folding razor blade versus a slider?
Because I like the feel of it, and it fits in that pouch great.
Okay.
I mean, no real particular reason. It holds. You talking about one that you flick out and flick,
The
slide
one
it
that's
in
got
and
the
slide it
slide,
out?
the sliding blade that
Yeah, I
breaks
don't-
off if it gets dull. You just break a piece off.
I hate those. I hate those.
Mark that off the list of crap to send you. Then
I've never found one that I liked. I think they're cheap. I think they're kind of flimsy. Because I end up using them as like a screwdriver and trying to pry with and stuff that you're not supposed to do with it. And I just think that bigger razor blade lets you get away with that kind of stuff. And this is a Craftsman one, so it's pretty thin, but it's got a couple of spare blades in the handle. But it just fits in that pouch in a way that it's not hard to get out, but it doesn't fall out. It's pretty snug. But I like the pouch because it's got a belt clip. It's got a plastic belt clip that goes on your belt, and then the pouch slides off and on that clip.
yeah. Now I'm anti. You have to put your belt through it.
Yes.
Anti that.
Yeah. So
Same
like if I
thing
got to
with
lay
holsters.
down, I can just simply slide it off.
Yep.
I can lay down, pick it back up, lock it back on.
Yep.
I do like it, but yeah, we need to compare on those. But and the other thing about that, and I told Trey, I don't know if he told you or not. My favorite thing about the fast cap tape measure is that the circle on the front, it's got a white
can
circle
write
on
on
the
it.
front. That's writable, but also the blades are writable. So you can
didn't
write
know
all
that.
over. You can write all over that blade. They've actually got one. They call it a story pole version. Hey,
There he is.
it's like rumbling in my ears.
Yeah, he's heavy tonight.
But
Train
they've got
passing
one.
if you can't hear it.
It's called story pole, right? So the one I sent you are left, right, left tape measures. So no matter which direction and I do like that. No matter which direction you can read it, the numbers are the right direction.
Do you use the fractions?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And what I use about the fractions is more like when I'm shooting to a corner and I can't tell the lines apart. I can read them. Like I know how to read it. My father-in-law makes fun of me because I want to tape measure with fractions on them. He's like, you don't know how to read. Yes, I know how to read a tape measure, but I can't. Sometimes I can't tell. I can't tell an eighth and a 16th apart. When I'm shooting it into a corner sometimes. Whereas I can just read the number. On the screen on the thing, and I like that the 16ths are in pink. I can tell the 16th from the 8th because they're in pink.
Yeah.
But they've got a metric. I've got one in the truck because I thought I was going metric, So they've got one that's metric on one side, standard on the other. So that's kind of cool. And then, but the story pole one is tape measure on one side, and it's a blank on the bottom half, not the back, but the bottom half, so that you can write like for like tilers. You put it on the wall, and you can put marks on your tape measure, just right on the tape measure for where you need to make where your tiles are going to land or whatever, you know.
They might be handy for cutting out like outlet boxes and plumbing on the back of a cabinet.
That's what I do with So mine, I pull the tape measure across, and I just put a line. I don't even read the measurements. I go from the corner. I put a line at the edge of the outlet, right edge of the outlet. Then I put it on the cabinet, and then just transfer those marks.
What do you cut out your holes with? Like, say it's a rectangle hole. Did we talk about this?
We have, I think so. Because I think you like rotozip them, right?
Yeah.
I oscillate them.
Either way, I will accept either one of those answers.
Now, I have done, and my partner likes it. He likes 1.5-inch hole saw, overlap like a snowman, and it works
For an outlet.
Now he leaves the little corners. He just pulls the outlet through it, and the corners are still there. I don't love that part, but I've started. I actually carry a spare outlet with me now, and I cut the hole so small that the tabs overlap.
Yeah.
How do you reattach the outlet to the box?
We don't, homeboy. I cut the rectangle out of the back of the cabinet, shoot that sucker against the wall, and screw it in.
See, I can't do that. I'm in a home with existing outlets already.
Well, I mean, we kind of are too, but they don't have plates. So what they do is when they put the plate on that outlet, they put a longer plate screw. So the plate is on the inside of the I think they might not do that. I don't know. I don't know what they do.
Pull the outlets through with like an extended box.
They might do that. They might do that.
So I shorten, I guess would be the right word, up and down the box. So that when I pull
the wings.
So when I pull the outlet through, the wings overlap, and I run a 3/4 screw top corner, 3/4 screw, and then put the plate on.
Yeah, see, I don't touch anything electrical. Yeah. The only wiring or anything I ever touch is under cabinet. I pop a hole in the cabinet, and when we're setting the overhead, we swing the bottom out, put the wire through the hole, swing the bottom in, fasten it to the wall.
That must be nice.
Yeah, I don't touch, buddy. I don't touch electrical.
Yeah, I have to pull all the electrical through. Yeah.
I'd rather paint my own cabinets than have to deal with those stupid boxes.
Oh, speaking of paint, let me take you a picture real quick. You're going to love this. You're going to think, I'll actually just text it to the group so that Tommy can, since he knows what we're talking about. So he
By
can
the way,
see
I'm
too.
making a list of stuff I'm going to send you, and it looks pretty good. You're going to come out ahead on this one.
Oh, okay. So before you get this and look at it, I'm just going to preface it with, I hate painting.
I felt
Anything.
that.
Anything.
I felt that.
Did you feel it?
I felt it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Did you get a picture yet?
Nope.
Oh, boy. I must be on slow internet.
Oh, wait a minute. I did. Oh, yeah. Oh.
That's god awful, isn't it?
Oh, Travis. Buddy.
So let me tell you what happened. So in my defense, so I sent him a picture of these stupid numbers and letters, and they have runs on them like, I don't even have oh wow. I got oh wow back from Tommy. Thank you, buddy.
Did you dip them?
So I didn't want overspray in the shop again. So I took my paint tent outside. I have one of those pop-up tents to paint in because I don't paint a lot. So I don't have a paint room. So I set my paint tent up outside. Well, it's white. The inside of the tent's white.
Yeah.
I'm painting white letters. I am blue-eyed and blonde-haired. It's extremely bright when you're painting white in a white tent.
Joe is.
I could not tell that I had oversprayed the crap out of these things until I brought them back in, and it looks like volcano lava dripping down the outside of these. I mean, it looks like melted wax on these suckers. So I'd wait on all that to dry, sand out all the runs, and I did that on every one of them. How many are in that picture? I think there's like 8 of them, 7 of them.
What paint did you spray?
So that's renter primer.
Well, primer will sag. Now, I'll give you that. Primer will sag.
Yeah.
Typically, it's thinner than a regular paint.
Well, I did say this is exactly why cabinet guys want to take doors off and they want to paint them flat. They don't want to paint them vertical. Like
Yep.
it's easier. I mean, in my defense, it is easier to paint flat than it is vertical. But I couldn't see. I mean, it was just so bright outside, inside the tent, and with the paint, I just couldn't see very well. And I'd bring them back in. I was like, oh my god, I did it again. And I would try to go lighter, and I'd do it again. I mean, it just was. It was Groundhog Day all over everyone I brought in. So they need one more coat, needless to say, because they've had to be sanded it down. Yeah.
Painting is hey, if you're gonna paint, if you run anything that you do and you're gonna paint, especially cabinets,
Yeah.
you better get ready to spend some time, money, effort, tears. I mean, Advil. That is, and a curse that I have is I looked at paint jobs for a living for 14 years.
Yeah.
Buddy, I can find a speck from 400 feet away.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy. And so you kind of have to, like the last job was 130 panels. You have to draw a line and say, okay, all right, that'll go. So
yeah, when I was doing that big shop clean out, I messaged one of our finishers, and because he's kind of hired a guy, and I was like, hey, I got like 20, maybe 30 doors that are, wrong sized or whatever for whatever reason. I was like, do you want them to let your guy practice on? Like, I mean, they're in various states. Like some of them, like he can practice sanding, he can practice, just finish coat, top coat, base coat, whatever he wants to do. He's like, no, we've got a bunch that he's practicing on himself. I was like, all right. I was like, I'm just going to pitch them. I mean, I'm tired of storing them. I can't find a good use for them.
You do like I did Baby Cow. Give him a whole job to paint. Say if you screw it up, you're fired.
Well,
that's what I told him. I said, listen, if they ain't perfect, you're fired.
Right.
And I walked out, and he was like, I said, nah, I'm just kidding, man.
Yeah, I hate it, man. I've got to do some painting here at the house, and I'm dreading it.
I'll say this about painting cabinet doors and cabinets, though. Once you do figure your system out, it's time consuming is all it is. It's really not bad. But those years, hey, you heard me, years that you're going to spend perfecting your finish game is going to be tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
It's an art. I mean, I tell people all the time, there's a reason why I build the cabinets and I don't paint them. I mean, I can eventually get it there. Like, I can get it there, but you don't want to pay me for the time that I'm going to charge you for me to get it there, for one thing.
And that's why I don't hang crown.
Yeah.
I told the builder, I said, I guarantee you, your guy that's trimming the whole house can hang us a little bit of crown on these cabinets for way less money than what my shop rate is to do it, because I'm so slow at it. But if I did it for a living, I would eventually get better and better, where I'm okay with it, Yeah. And painting the same thing. No matter what you do, it's the same thing.
Yeah. But so it was terrible. I know it's terrible, but
it happens. Boy, don't you think I had never ran anything.
No, I know it's a learning curve. I mean, and it's not a terrible sprayer. It's not probably the best sprayer. It's nothing like your setup, but I mean, I went and got like the fine finished, tip, and and I'm spraying good stuff. It's not like I'm trying to spray Walmart primer or anything. I mean,
yep. Renner
is
good paint.
This primer is actually so good that's all I'm painting them with. They just need to be white. And it's such a hard primer. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it'll carry.
What's dry time on it?
With runs or without?
Without.
Oh, 15-ish, 20. I mean,
that's water-based stuff.
Yep.
Do you have like does it raise the grain? I know it's MDF, but it can still. Does it get super rough after primer, or just like a little bit rougher?
A little bit rough. A little 220.
Yeah, I've discovered that. See, Sensei painted with latex, and what you don't want to do is soak wood with water for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Water-based paint, it takes 3 hours to dry.
Yeah, no, this stuff flashes pretty quick.
Yeah, you're basically soaking that wood down, and the veneer on the plywood would blister into big old bubbles, and you had to cut them, take them out, Bondo the hole, and when I went to lacquer, it was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a guy on the cabinet group posted that and said, man, every time I paint, this veneer comes, it swells up and pops out. I said, what are you painting with? He said, latex. I said, get some lacquer and see what happens. And he actually messaged me a couple of weeks later and said, dude, that took care of it. Don't do it. I said, yeah, because it's not sitting there soaking wet for 2 hours.
Right.
You know? Well, I had some other stuff, but I'm not going to do it. This because I think we're about out of time.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the train horn. I mean, the cowbell's ringing in the bottom of my cup.
And Thomas, just letting you know, I've got a couple of good train intros. We got to figure out how to drop them in. If it's too big of a deal, we won't worry about it. But if it's something super simple,
that last one
I want to do that.
I want just the one little toot that he does. I want to cut. I'm gonna try to cut that out for a sound effect. Just that one. Like he does that one little boom.
Yeah, we do it once every hour during the podcast. All right.
The way my world's going, I'm going to need it here for too long for a sensor pump because and it's getting harder and harder to. No, it's getting good. Well, go ahead.
We got some stuff coming up this week.
That's what I was going to ask. What you got?
We're starting a job this week, and actually it's a small job. It's 18 cabinets, which is great because we're going to be in, and they're all simple, super simple stuff, nothing crazy. We're going to get them in, we're going to bang them out, and we're going to ship them. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the one after that is going to be about 40 cabinets.
Just don't underestimate the small job.
You still got to stay in the zone, man.
Yep.
If you get out of that zone, you're messing up. More than one cabinet, I'm fine. If it's 2 cabinets, I'm fine. One cabinet, it'll take me all day. I will screw it up. And it's crazy how that happens. But one little cabinet, I'm fixing to mess it up all day long.
Well, I'm pretty excited. I've got a laundry room coming up that I don't have to build a single door for. We're going to order all the doors because she wants a profile to match some other cabinets that are in the house. And
you're about to. Ooh, that's dangerous.
Well, I'm not ordering them.
Well, I'm just saying it's dangerous to just order doors and they show up and all you have to do is hang them.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's dangerous, mister. I just bought shapers.
Well, no, I mean.
Maybe not for you because you do.
I don't mind making doors. I mean, it's not a big deal for me. And I don't make that many at a time. I was about to say,
you're not doing 150 of them, so.
Yeah, but she wants this profile. And I don't like these doors at all. They've just got a big profile on them, and all the corners are 45. I don't like that at all.
Oh, they're miter doors.
They're miter doors. I don't like it.
I hate miter doors.
I think that's going to separate.
Tell you who's going to finish them.
I mean, the same finishers we use.
Yeah, you better tell him to go ahead and have that talk with her.
Yeah.
Don't call me in a year when they're busting apart at the seams.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if he does a 2K urethane on it, he won't have to worry about that.
Well, he'll do a 1K. He'll do renter. I mean, he'll renter prime them, and then he'll renter them. We don't use any 2K. I don't think they use any 2K.
A 2K will stretch over that gap, believe it or not.
Just has more elasticity.
Yep. A 1K is harder. And for you wondering, that's one component, which means you open the can, pour it in the paint gun, paint it. A 2K is a 2-part paint.
Yeah.
Paint and then a hardener.
Kind of like our epoxy analogy earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You got a part A and a part B.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I've got that, and then I've got that big bookcase build that should be relatively straightforward. It's just going to be boxes and then face frame on site because everything's going to share a face frame. So, pretty excited about that. And then trophy cases.
Ooh.
Fixing to bust on the trophy cases. So,
well, maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll have the forms put up and getting ready for concrete. I'm hoping on the new house.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. He's got to get both of those guys lined up, one right behind the other one.
Right.
And that's what we're waiting on is for both of them to be ready to go. So, and he was like,
you got a pad identified now that doesn't take water?
Yeah, we got the pad done.
Okay. I was thinking for a little while, I was like, y'all are going conventional floor. You're going to have to just do a crawl space.
My goodness, man. The house is moved 30, 40 feet to the left, and then another 20 feet back from
pivoted
original.
97 and a half degrees.
Yep, and turned.
And turned
It's
a little
been
bit.
a mess. But it is what it is. You know, it's going to be a long process. You might as well, hey, don't get impatient when they hadn't even dug the foundations yet.
Right.
You know, wait till you're halfway done before you start getting impatient. Builder's being really good. He calls me once every few days and says, hey, here's where we're at. Here's what I'm trying to get done, you know, whatever.
I mean, y'all think like January 2024, is that kind of where you think it'll fall?
Probably. Yep.
There, give or take.
Mm-hmm. It'll be a miracle if we're in it by Christmas 23.
I would be surprised too. Yeah.
Yep. The only thing is it's really simple. Like there's not a whole lot, you know, that we're going to have to wait on special order windows or doors or anything. It's going to be pretty simple. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, I had a great time. I needed these 2 hours. I ain't gonna lie. It's just my little therapy session. I enjoyed it. Again, thanks everybody for listening. Hey, we need some comments. We need some things back. We're gonna do a giveaway. We'll talk. We need to talk this week. We'll figure out what we're gonna do. Let's give away some hats this week. The hard thing is we've got to time the release of this and the actual giveaway with like when it's actually being released,
and when it's going to be aired. Yep.
You know, so but we need to figure that out. We need to do something. You know, we appreciate everybody going and going after it. To all the moms out there who are listening to us, happy Mother's Day to you.
Yep.
You're important in somebody's life, and you have no doubt impacted that person, and none of us would be here without a mother. So
I'm about to say, I can 100% say I wouldn't be here without Mom.
That's right. In several ways, but
of course it's July when you're listening to this, but you know, whatever.
Right. But we thought about you. We were thinking about you, you know. But we appreciate it. Just again, thanks for all the likes, the comments, the shares. Keep showing Tommy some love. He's doing a really good job getting the podcast together, getting that release date, on time, and getting that thing pushed out. We need those subscriptions though. We need you to subscribe somewhere.
Yep.
The more platforms you subscribe on, the better. That just helps us try to push this thing towards. Some toward type of monetization. I ain't gonna lie. Again, if we can just offset some of the cost, it'd be perfect. We don't have to make our living off of it, but if we could offset some of the costs, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and it would make us more impactful to the small business community, which is why we're here.
Yeah, we want to try to be good stewards for those guys, and we want that feedback and some information from them, because I'm sure that there's going to be somebody who's going to argue something with what we're saying, and I'd love to be able to be in a position where we could hear those arguments and have more conversations with them, and and be changed. And I'll just throw this out there too, for those of you who are looking for a great podcast, that are looking for some kind of leadership principles and concepts of somebody to listen to, look up Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL. He's got a great long format podcast. I think it's once a week that they release. It's about 3.5 hours usually. Lots of times it's military guest, but it just takes principles of combat, wars and different conflicts, and those leadership traits that are learned from there. And if you listen like 2 of those podcasts, I'm sure you'll go, that's where Travis has got a lot of the crap he says from. I'm a Kool-Aid drinker for his principles and concepts. I really am. I just think I think anybody in leadership should be listening to him. Management. And again, like we said, those principles, they apply to the family dynamic as well. As far as communicating with your spouse, yes, I know, babe, I don't always do what I'm saying I do, but communicating with your spouse, communicating with your children, it's the same thing. It's just being a better communicator really makes you a better leader. I think that's the big principle that it comes down to. But great person to check out and listen to. I think you would get a lot out of him. Yeah, and go do the thing.
Go do it. Come back with all 10 fingers.
Go in the shop, start something, start a project, start an Etsy page, start a, whatever. get into the next pyramid scheme. Whatever you think is something that you want to pursue, go after it. I listened to a podcast this weekend. This kid has 1 million followers from Pell City, Alabama, and he's now,
Crazy.
yeah. I mean, so now he's now out in California, and he gets to do all these like premieres and all this stuff, and I'm not saying everybody's going to be a YouTube star, because clearly it's harder than we thought it was going to be to make stardom, but it's possible. It's something that's there, but he just pursued it. The long story short is that he just went after it and went after it and went after it, and it did not come quick. I mean, 8 years of building a channel up and getting a following, and then boom, just kind of grew up. And I mean, he hit that 1 million, and you look statistically at how many people have 1 million plus subscribers. It's like, of all the YouTube channels up there, it's like the top 10%. I mean,
Yeah.
So go out there and do something. 10 fingers,
Bring them back. Bring them back.
10 toes, be safe, be conscious of what you're doing. Buddy, tell everybody we said, hey, tell Joseph happy birthday for us.
Do the same. I will.
And we look forward to, you never told us what you got for his birthday, but I guess we'll cover that later.
He bought a 22 rifle.
Oh, nice. 1022?
Nope, just 22.
It's not like a Ruger or
Yeah, it's a Savage.
a Savage?
Semi-automatic, yep.
Nice. Nice.
Yep. He wanted it over an Xbox, so I'm not complaining.
No, yeah.
He started the day wanting an Xbox, and then he was like, what about a 22? I said, buddy, if you want a 22, I'll go buy you one.
Yeah.
And yes, he's 11. But yes, he also...
He also was running a tractor like a grown man yesterday, too, so he needs to put that in a saddlebag next to him. Hey, I'd go borrow a 22 and take out me a little groundhog today, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're there.
Boy, they'll squeal. I don't like being shot.
Not at all. Not at
And
all.
they don't like when their friends shot either. The one that I couldn't shoot, boy, he was just as loud as the one I did shoot.
Yep.
Well, hey, thanks again for everybody listening. Hey, buddy, take care. Have a good week. We will see you soon. And as always, we appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Have a good one,
See
man.
ya.
We'll catch you later.
Bye.